playing Dwarf Fortress, and the recording's going. We're not playing Dwarf Fortress, but we are Dungeons and Dragons Dwarf Fortress. Last time, you all bailed out of the labyrinth like the cowards you are.
Yay!
Yay! And
Lawful pragmatic.
It's the alignment you need for a game like this, I think. And yeah, you're back. You've got your sword ×2 on the floor. Chaos, dead guards, shredded bodies, toppled statues, lots of smashed furniture and doors, and yeah, a lot of dead dwarves.
I didn't do it.
No, you didn't. Or did you?
I don't think you did yet.
Do we have a... I do not have a map. Do we have a map?
Are you zoomed in over in the top left?
The map, we're on the fortress map today, which has a lot of big black space because
I am at
vision
10% zoom and all I can see is white.
White?
White?
Ooh,
Yes.
That's an odd one.
that may be a reconnect situation. If it was all black, that would be a vision thing.
Racist.
I will absolutely.
To be fair though, Vision Thing is one of Sisters of Mercy's better songs.
That was pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie.
Obscure goth references.
I have just checked. You do indeed have the power of sight.
Hooray!
But I am also not sure
reloading.
your hit points carried over from the other map, but I don't think that's a problem.
I believe we're about to take a long rest.
Yes.
Didn't we take one recently? Oh
so
no!
The end of the
we
session
were
was
going
like a
to.
rush of, I need to go to bed, and you were like, oh, we want a long rest, and I was like, okay, but I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
And that
So we
was it.
said we were going to, and I need to identify stuff before we
Yeah.
do.
So there is an identifying items session. So you've got the Elven Blade. I'm gonna have to pull up my notes if you don't mind.
I remember everything that's here. There's a hammer
which is made of
somewhere.
copper, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, those stupid elves being rubbish at making things.
Why would you make stuff out of copper? This is a terrible
'Cause
plan.
if you haven't
You
got
might as well make
furnaces
it out of
that are hot
gold.
enough, at least gold would be fancy. You get
Next, you'll find people trying to make swords out of diamonds.
Who the fuck is putting a diamond in a forge? This makes me angry.
We also have a sword which is
a pale metal.
a pale metal that we don't know, which is may or may not be adamantine or whatever it is.
And we have-
We're not sure. We have no idea what metal this is.
A hammer
And
somewhere.
a
And a
large
hammer.
pile of fancy booze.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, a hammer. We had a hammer as well.
We have a hammer.
Yes. So
Is it magical?
the hammer is made of like the same pale metal as the sword. I don't know if that was detailed, but that's how
no, I would have.
I don't believe I mentioned that, but checking my notes, that is the conclusion
Okay.
that I draw.
That would be the king's hammer, right?
Yes.
And he also was wearing super fancy armor. Do we know if that's made out of the same material?
So the fancy armor that the king is wearing is not made out of the same material as the weapons. It is made. It's the same as the material that the dwarven warrior that you met the ghosts of and that you buried and that whole thing. Same armor as them.
Oh, okay, so sort of regular steel stuff.
Yeah. So it's it's better because it's steel. But it's not magical. Let me see. I should have remembered that we were doing this. Done it at the start.
So
Let's see.
That's all I have in my notes. We had the king's signet ring. We have a large pile of fancy booze, which I can list through because it contains crazy Yanla's kobold knockout juice.
Yeah, it's
Um,
never forget that. So
Kigra's bracelet as well.
Yes, yeah, with the name written on it. So the Warhammer does ping as magical, and
Oh,
so
shit.
does the sword.
Mhm.
And they both. It's a very dwarven kind of magic, and you. Sorry, I assume you'll all share the information on what they do.
Yeah, no reason not to.
They have a specifically very patriotic kind of dwarven enchantment on them, which is it enhances the kind of natural abilities of dwarves. So they increase the range of your dark vision
Oh
by
my God.
60 feet when attuned.
Very cool.
Nice. Right, say that again. I got half of that.
When dwarves attune to the pale metal hammer and sword, they increase their dark vision by 60 feet.
Damn.
That's really badass. The sword, is it a short sword or a long sword?
It's
Or a great sword?
I never specified, so I'll tell you what. I owe you some inspirations that you didn't use. What do you prefer? Do you have a preference?
I mean, I have a personal preference. I don't know if the rest of the group has a preference. Like, I have a mild preference for it being a short sword.
Fine by me.
Sure,
I'm
so
fine
it
with that.
is.
I have a preference for yoinking that hammer, though.
No.
What kind of hammer is it? Is it a light hammer? Is it a warhammer? Oh, you said it was a warhammer, didn't you?
Yes, it's a warhammer.
I'm
Great
inclined
hammer.
to suggest that. I mean, yes,
Oh,
it's
and,
a great hammer. It's going, but
Sorry, second benefit is immunity to poison damage. Missed that. Very
Oh,
dwarven.
wow.
I'm inclined to suggest that the warhammer should possibly go on the melee cleric. I don't think that's a particularly large stretch.
No, I really
No.
want it.
Sounds pretty controversial.
I have no opinion on this because
You've got your shiny thing.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to disappear for a sec. I'm still having a bit of trouble computer issues in that I've tried this on 2 different browsers and I'm still just getting a white screen.
Oh, I see. No worries.
Back in a sec.
just out of interest, because I mean, there's no way I'm really interested in using a copper sword, but like, is the elven sword like a short sword or a long sword or something? Because I just have this image of this gigantic copper greatsword and just looking at it being like, what?
It's a long sword.
A long sword.
Made of copper, so not terribly impressive to you. And it does not seem to be magical.
I'm pretty sure I could bend that.
I'm pretty sure I could OC bend that.
Sorry, I will rephrase that. I'm pretty sure the player could bend that. It's copper.
I don't want to. The other thing I want to say is I don't specifically want to lay claim to the sword if there's anyone else who wants it, because it will be a backup weapon for me. Aside from the dark vision boosting, which holy shit, that's amazing.
That's amazing on you.
Especially, as a combo with what you've got going on already.
Yeah, like that would take me up to 150 feet of dark vision.
Yeah,
I think
I will
should probably
assume
have that.
you're using that and change your vision radius.
Okay.
I think a short
We
sword
have-
on you for the effect makes the most sense, because the only way I'm going to use it if it's a great sword, and I'm kind of like hammers.
Sure. Is does it have any other bonuses? Like, is it just basically like a +0 magic sword? Otherwise,
That's a good question. I'll go back to it. So yeah, immunity to poison damage, range of the dark vision increases by 60 feet, and It is +1.
Oh, it's +1. Nice.
Keep forgetting to mention. I'll get into it once the session gets going a bit more. I'll be more competent.
Oh no, that's.
I'm like, that must be it. It increases dark vision. That must be the only effect.
Add all this shit to my sheet.
Does the sword have a name?
No, and these pale metal weapons are very well made. Craftsmanship is of the highest quality, but they are very plain.
Utilitarian weapons.
Yes, in a fortress where most stuff seems pretty ornamental.
This is notably a different metal to what my armor's made out of, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to start calling this pale metal.
Yeah. In my notes, I've just referred to it as pale metal.
Yeah, pale metal works. Oh man, just gonna. I assume I'm okay to just write this stuff down at the moment, given we're about to the long rest.
Yeah.
Good. Because I started writing it down.
Given we kind of ended it in a bit of a fuzzy place, but you do all get your
Yeah.
long rest. There is no drama.
Brilliant.
So, who's equipping the other pale metal?
The hammer.
Yeah,
Me.
you've got the hammer. Right?
Me.
Yeah.
Me. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
And we have strapped the short sword to the ranger's hip.
Mm-hmm.
Just
You
to
have
check,
dark
you
vision.
have that effect while it's...
It just did it.
While I'm attuned to it, not when I'm using it.
Yeah.
Wow, Isden can see so far.
Oh wait, hang on. I'm going to need to zoom out. Holy shit.
Oh wow, how...
I've had
That
to zoom
humble
out to
wag,
70% just so I can get everything on. And I
Like,
probably have to zoom
mine
out
is
even further.
must be so hard for you.
I can see forever. What do your dwarf eyes see?
Darkness and elves that need crumping.
Just you wait until I
Hello,
introduce
hello.
cave adaptation.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Right, I have not managed to get this thing to work yet, so I'm
Okay.
going to do a restart. Do we want to just get started, and I will have the power of sight when I regain the power of sight?
That's right.
I can wait. I'll cut the recording here, and then.
Well, I can't guarantee this isn't going to take me like the next 20 minutes. Is the only thing.
Because I don't know whether there's more stuff there, and I don't want to also spend the entire session manually combing through it if because I recognise that you have content that you might actually want to genuinely get to.
So I've started recording again. Just by the way, because I've thought stuff's happening. So downtime is done exploring the maze. I will put you on the map and put the others in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're waiting to see if everything starts working again, however long that takes, you can do the exploring.
Okay, cool.
Manually, and I will let you know if you find anything. You should be on the map. The rest of you should be in just a random box if you can see the map, so don't mind that. I have to keep you all on the same map, so...
Right. I'm just going to click around a bit and see how this goes.
Clip around, and if there's anything you haven't seen before, I will let you know.
Okay.
This is a nice way to pass the time, just exploring the maze. I'm going to watch it from your point of view.
Oh yeah, when I'm in the labyrinth, I don't get a picture.
Yep, that is still a thing.
Oh, I can recreate that. Let's see. Now you're just tiny and don't have a picture.
Okay, I feel like this is a downgrade.
Not sure. It's associated with your character sheet. Maybe something in your character sheet's not quite associating right. Don't worry, I am looking, Dax, at your exploration as well.
It's it's all right. I'm sort of deliberately doing a lot of backtracking just to make sure that I kind of have an understanding of where things are.
Yeah, so if you edit your character sheet, you can see that there isn't a token set, or the default token set to the default token or something. I don't know if you can edit the actual character page, like in the top right, the edit button.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yes. What am I editing, sorry?
So if you press on your character sheet, and then there's a, well, I have a show to players button, and then there's edit, and then there's like a magnifying glass. I forgot what that was called. I was like, it's a search. There's an edit button. I don't know if you have that.
No. Am I
Okay.
clicking on the token? Am I clicking the top right?
You know what? I'm just gonna try some things. I'm gonna mess with your sheet instead of letting you do it, and aha! It works. Don't worry, I fixed it. I fixed everything.
Cool. Now I have black screen.
Perfect. You also have two
my-
tokens.
Oh,
Oh, yes, you found a thing.
I found
You
something.
found a thing. Oh my god.
Holy shit! How did I miss this?
There was much hilarity from viewers in the last session when you were all leaving the maze, going,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we found everything. I think we're done here. And I was waving
Yeah.
my
I did
mouse.
not say that.
I did.
Let's go into a secret chat.
Okay. Oh.
Welcome to secret chat.
Secret chat. Mysterious.
So,
I've always like wanted things to say things about the rest of the party. They're all terrible people. That's,
I can't
that
believe
is
they
not
all
even
missed
slightly-
this. They're such scrubs. So,
Sorry, carry on.
ahead of you, let me check my notes because I can't remember if you're supposed to be able to see all the way in. I don't know if something's gone wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
Paper pile. Paper pile, help me. Okay. So, I can't find my nicely prepared descriptions, but I remember what's here.
Okay.
So, ahead of you, there is firstly, well, there was a door, an initial door.
Mm-hmm.
This door is much like many other things here. It's pretty smashed. And inside the room, you see, again, it's more smashed furniture, but it's kind of, you can identify what everything is. There's a bookcase here on the west, a bed and a bedside table here, and kind of like a little chair in the corner here. It's a fairly cozy room. There's nice engravings on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then further past that, there is what was once some kind of big stone door with like a complicated looking bits of metal attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, you can see, looks like an empty stone room.
Ha. I'm suspicious.
Roll. Well, I guess it depends if you're kind of investigating or perceiving.
So probably I just want to start with confirming some things about the room that I'm currently in.
Yes.
The dwarf, is it sized for a child? I'm sorry, the dwarf, the bed, is it sized for a dwarven child?
It is indeed.
Or, okay. The bookshelf, does it contain anything or is it all smashed up?
It is all smashed up. But the bookcase itself being smashed, there are some books spared. There are quite a lot of books. A lot of them are aimed for younger dwarves. A lot of them are kind of educational. Obviously, there's not a big line in children's educational books, but it's kind of, folk tale collections, and there's just sort of some history books that aren't super complicated and things like that.
Okay. I'm probably going to pick up a bit of broken furniture, like maybe one of the shelves that's broken. And I would like to toss it into the room.
Okay.
See if anything happens.
perception check.
Sure. I ain't seen much.
You see nothing.
Okay, but so the book just flies in, nothing really
Yep,
happens.
there's a book in the room.
Okay, cool. In that case, then I guess I will tentatively step into the room. Just take a quick look around, just like sort of maybe run my fingers along the walls, see if there's any like discontinuities or anything that might have some sort of, maybe something aside or any engravings or anything.
Unlike the friendly engravings in the other room, the walls in this room are completely bare. Make an investigation check as you give the room like a check over. Just looking at stuff. No,
Nope,
nothing here.
just bare room.
Empty room. Empty
Alright.
room.
I guess that's it. There's nothing dangerous here.
Nope.
It's all good. So just quickly stepping out, looking at the door, the complicated mechanism on it, does it appear to be it's destroyed, right?
So it's kind of a destroyed stone door, but it's that you can tell by the combination, like big slab of stone and then delicate bits of metal.
Right.
There was maybe something.
Does it look like the mechanism was designed to be opened from the inside or the outside or both?
That is definitely an investigation check.
Okay, let's see if I can do any better with this one. Hey, not bad.
So you can tell by the way things have fallen that it looks as though the door was designed to be opened from the room you're currently in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way that it's been smashed, does it look like it's been broken through from one particular side?
So it looks as though, with 20 investigation, it looks as though it has been broken from the outside. However, so the room you're currently in, there's like little splinters of wood and like dust and stuff all over the floor that there is not inside the other room.
Interesting.
And kind of by how far that stuff has flown as stuff was smashed up, you would expect some to be in there.
Right, yes. So stuff in here presumably got smashed up, and that happened before that door was broken.
Yes.
Would that be a reasonable inference?
That is reason. That's what I'm
inference.
implying. But I thought,
Sure. While I'm here, I've got literally one more spell slot, so I may as well use it before we go and rest. So I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Apologies. Before I mislead you, sorry. It was smashed from the inside. This is what I get. This is what I get for losing my notes.
Sure.
Smashed from the inside, but the other stuff holds true.
Okay.
Detect Magic. You detect no magic.
Okay. Right. I mean, this seems to largely confirm what we already thought, and I haven't found anything that seems particularly dangerous or particularly interesting. The bedside table you described, is it one of those ones that has drawers and stuff in it, or is it literally just a table?
It has drawers and stuff.
Can I go through them?
Yes, you may. You see mostly small trinkets. You see a few small carved figures. You see there's like a small hand mirror. And you see like a few little shiny bits of jewelry. Nothing gemstone, but
shame.
metal.
I might take the mirror.
Go for it.
That seems like it would actually be genuinely useful. I guess may as well do this thoroughly. Just check through the bed, under the bed, see if there's
Yep.
anything else going on.
That's investigation.
Sure.
I think that's not amazing. I know I'm doing a lot more investigation than perception, but it's kind of active.
No, I am. Yeah.
I think that's the correct use of them.
Yes, I agree.
There's nothing you wouldn't expect under the bed. The bed's kind of been smashed on top of anything that would have been under there, but picking through the rubble a bit, not rubble, it's a bed, picking through the debris, you don't find anything you wouldn't expect.
Sure. All right. Well, that's that mystery solved. Well, not solved, but I think Isden is happy with what he's found.
Yes.
I guess I might as well just continue on doing some exploration, unless you want me to not do that.
You are welcome to. However, I am now happy to say that,
that we've got everything.
That you've got everything, and you can abstract out the rest of the exploration if you want.
Okay, sure.
And we can just assume you map it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Should we move back to general chat?
Yeah, once you've told them all about it, I'll reveal the whole map to you.
Okay.
But not until you've told them about the room, obviously.
All right, sure.
If you choose to. Okay, we'll go back.
The very specific circumstances.
We're back.
Hello.
Oh no.
That's
So
Wait,
Isden will.
before you give us the bad news, I have good news.
Yeah.
I can see myself on the map.
I've just moved us back to the fortress.
I can't see myself on the map anymore.
Oh god damn it!
Sorry, shouldn't have done that. I didn't think.
No,
Are
I can
you
see the
black
map.
or white?
I can see the map. It's fine. It's black.
Okay.
okay.
Literally, as I
Hello.
said that, the screen just dissolved, and I was like, "Oh."
Oh no.
black is good, white is bad. That's...
Yep, let's go with
All
that.
right, all well.
Okay, so some time later, Isden will emerge from the stairs and come and meet with the rest of you. I don't know if you're waiting for him here or if you've headed back to the fortress, but
You lot need a bath. Oh no, wait, we haven't got plumbing yet. Okay, don't worry about it.
Hey, I've got an engineer working on it.
Yeah.
Is there a stream outside?
There's a
Not-
river not
You
far
have to
from
go a
here.
bit of a way. But,
Job's good.
we have
Oh, I can heat water.
amazing.
Got fireball.
You all right, everyone?
oh, yeah.
Hey, you're back.
So-
Well, and in one piece.
We did miss something else. One last thing. It ain't much. Just a sort of curiosity, I suppose. There's a room. Well, two rooms actually. We came across in probably in the middle of the labyrinth. I think we just must have gone round the outside. Easy enough to do in the dark, and in a labyrinth, it's designed for people to get lost in. It's one room seemed to have some broken furniture in it, bed. It's always about right for a dwarven child.
Well, yes, that makes sense. Who would've thought?
Bookshelves, books on them. Again, children's books. And there was another room, only accessible through that one. It was entirely plain. There's no engravings on it. Doesn't seem to be anything in there except a door. Door on it was seemed to have some sort of mechanism to lock the thing. I was wondering whether this is one of those things where they put, I don't know, maybe they put the child in the plain room and locked it.
Yeah.
Seemed to have been broken. The door's broken out through. Or if there was something else going on. Don't really know, to be honest with you.
I mean, that could be what they do. They take the child down and they put her in that room when she turns, and she knocks. I guess she can knock the door down, and then when she gets better, then she has a bed to sleep in, and she can come up.
Very expensive to replace that door every time. It's the mechanism on it was It was no small thing.
Probably you meant a holding in.
Did you find the tunnel that beastie managed to crawl through?
Good question.
No, you did not.
I didn't. No idea how the thing got in, honestly.
Because if we're trying to make the place safe, something like that can crawl through, we can't really sign it off as safe until we can make sure that others aren't going to.
Well, maybe there was some other way, maybe some sort of secret door that we missed. Came in through that, maybe. I'll be honest with you, I did have a pretty thorough check round. I don't think I missed anything, honestly. Pretty convinced I found everything there was to find.
Fine. Well, I'm calling it tonight then.
I mean, if nothing else, maybe there's a tunnel. Maybe we find it some other different way, right? There's got to be other ways to find secret doors. Yes, the smoke trick is usually one if it leads to the outside.
Yeah. Huh? Oh, yeah.
Like that sort of thing. But we can spend some time going over it if people really aren't sure. But I'm pretty sure I got everything.
Quick out of character knowledge, addition knowledge question.
Yep.
First of all, do elves still get a bonus to spotting hidden doors in 5th ed? Or did that go a while ago?
Don't believe so.
I seem to remember they. Hang on, I got to check this because I seem to remember they do.
No,
Weirdly.
I have no memory.
They certainly
of this.
used
Hold
to,
on, let me
but
grab my...
again,
I
this is
could-
going back to
could be
3.5
wrong.
brain.
One moment.
Speaking of different,
Oh no, maybe they just don't.
I mean, they've got to have some use, right?
Oh, they have amazing. They have pretty great stats, and some other stuff.
Maybe. Oh no,
Yeah, but do they actually have a
do.
use?
Yeah, like farming and slavery.
Yeah, have you seen the upkeep to profit ratio on the elves on your spreadsheet? Amazing. Slavery
It
is fun and profitable.
It's the way to go. Yeah, no, they don't. Wow. Huh.
Okay, that means I don't need to ask the second question.
Just shove a bunch of elves down there until I find something.
No, the second question was, can I roll like animal handling to know that?
I'm slightly disconcerted that you've taken animal handling on your sheet and read that as slave driver.
I don't have animal handling on my sheet.
Do you want to give you a
Uh,
cat?
no, I've just got a +3 to it.
Because you're wise.
Yeah. I think the wisdom is not referring to it as animal handling in front of the elves.
Yes, I find no mention of the hidden door thing either. I just had to
Sad
check because I
times.
went to all the effort of getting my player's handbook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could have just checked that with the player's handbook that's right in front of me.
I had to walk across the room. It was a lot of effort.
I'd have to.
You need to
turn
sit
my
down.
chair 30 degrees.
Not 30 degrees.
It's all the way over there.
Right. Anyway, I'm happy it is safe.
Right.
And
Well.
I mean, I'm with you on the whole how did the thing get in thing, but I'd be happy to let people up in this upper section. At least we probably want to seal off the labyrinth if for no other reason. If anybody gets in there, they may not know the way out.
Oh, I was going to suggest that. Yes, we definitely don't want people wandering down there. But if this is literally your job. If you're absolutely certain that nothing's going to come wandering out and threaten everyone, then well, I'm good.
Tell you what, we'll seal it up for now, right? We can do that. Just get a mason, get some blocks, seal up the entrance.
I'm happy with your word on that. What about the rest of you?
Fine. I just want to call it a night. So, whatever you guys decide, I'm fine.
Before we do that then, I'm really sorry, I'm going to ask for a quick recap. Given that when Singebeard was doing all the identifying, I was wrestling with my ancient computer. So, Sainsbury's got the fancy Warhammer now.
Hmm.
Yep.
Cool, I'll take that off of my character sheet. Was there anything wibbly about the signet ring?
The signet ring. Yeah, hold on. I just
That came off what I'm going to assume was the dead. The highest.
highest ranked dwarf
Yes.
that was available. Let me check. So yeah, during the identifying, since we missed it first time round, it would have been the insignia ring would have been identified as it is magical, and it's fundamentally just a magical key.
Okay. Is there any more? Is it to a specific lock, or is it like a this called cast knock, or
To a magic lock.
okay? Fair enough. That's interesting.
Have we come across any locks we haven't been able to open? I don't think so. At least not yet.
Have we come across any locks?
Come across that smashed down door where we think her daughter might have been put.
That's a possibility. The door, that door weren't magical though. I did check. There weren't any magic down there.
Have we sort of looked over everywhere with magic eyes?
Well, we had to come back and do that. I'm all out.
Well, shall we adjourn for the night and come back fresh and ready in the morning?
I think that's wise, and you know, I think we can tell people to come in here and start, you know, sealing this up and working, cleaning it out too.
Fine.
Alright. Sounds good.
Okay.
Done.
Okay. You all get your long rest.
Yeah.
Yay!
Your
Bed.
much wanted long rest. So
All I ever want is a long rest. In real life.
now it's a beautiful morning. I'm gonna reveal the whole fortress. If you'll all give me a moment and not panic. Okay, you had one job. Okay.
I am apparently interesting. I am apparently
That's a
not.
lie.
You are very interesting.
I wish to point out that I'm currently floating in space.
You're not
Sounds
floating in
great.
space,
Oh, there
you're
we go.
walking in the air.
Okay, there we go.
Now we can see.
Yeah,
Ooh, this
I've
is
got
different lighting.
yeah,
Oh.
I've got some weird lighting lag.
Oh, it's this thing again. Yeah,
It's the
this is
same.
first time.
Oh, an F5 will fix that, I think.
Really? Okay.
I seem to remember last time an F5 made that go away.
I don't seem to be having any lighting issues.
Nice, good job. Keep it that way.
Oh, no, yes, I do.
Oh.
A
Spoke too
refresh.
soon.
I can now see the entire.
It was when I tried to move the rest of the fortress and went, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see the fortress. There we
I
go.
can see the whole fortress now. Look at that map.
I can see the fortress.
It's when you go a while with the like claustrophobic view, and then you're suddenly able to see the fortress again. It's a very nice feeling.
Oh wow,
I know, right?
that's
It's
super
lovely.
cool.
I want to say we made this, but we didn't.
We didn't.
No,
Wait, no,
yeah,
we did
spent
this.
a lot of time in.
No, it's fine. We did this.
It's
You
like
did this. Good job, everyone.
I
I can
Yeah.
also
Oh god, it's
reveal-
that meme. I made this. Okay. I made this.
I can reveal the full labyrinth if any of you want. There's not really a need for it.
I'm super curious. You have no idea how much I want to see
Okay,
that, the whole
put you on
thing.
that map, and I will switch to regular fog of war. Bear with, don't panic.
I'm so afraid.
Oh, I'm gonna have to refresh again.
Yeah, I have to do the same.
I'm locked in a tiny box.
You are locked in a tiny box.
Oh my god.
Bug force.
You just literally just walk straight around it. That's amazing.
Right, okay, hang on. So bear with me here.
Hmm.
Because when we fought that bug,
Yeah, in the top left.
let me see if I can draw this. Can I? Because now that I'm actually right, if I draw this, can you all see this?
Yeah, once you let go of the mouse.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Right. So up here, this bit here was where we were when we heard it, right?
Yes.
And I ran off. The route that I took.
That's the route that I took.
Right. The route that I took was more like this.
Okay.
I just want to point out, I was standing like here. I expected my cleric to be here. Why was my cleric down here?
That's the route that I took to find the thing.
You didn't need to flank round. You just needed to be behind me.
Well, no, all I needed to do, all I actually needed to do, let's find a different colour, was this.
Yeah, that was it. That's
But
what
I
it
took
was.
the unscenic route.
You were quite confused.
And yeah, we didn't really explore like any of this stuff, did we?
No, no.
I walked through it, but
I think when you
mostly
actually,
it was sort of just going like down here and along.
I think when you took us to the exit, we actually went through like a load of this area because we went.
Yeah,
You found a route that went there. It was not the quickest route, but it was a route, and you stuck to the route you knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's because it was quite a disorienting, intentionally so, kind of maze. You were all quite kind of stuck to the edges because the edge was like a reliable feature for not getting too lost. You never really went far in.
Can we all just take a moment to allow the people watching this on YouTube to catch a breath from laughing at us? And how terrible we are at, the first word in the game we're playing.
You're not terrible at it. I made this intentionally very difficult to navigate by making like not really having dead ends. So like classic things of hugging like the left or right wall, things like that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I'm just role playing my intelligence.
How many times must we have just walked past this this entrance here? And
You
just
came
not...
really close, like immediately upon entering the maze,
Mm-hmm.
and then turned around.
Because we came up to here, didn't we?
Yeah, you were kind
And
of
then
here,
went this way and then up here.
and at a different
'Cause that's
point
where I
you were here.
Scrawled the thing in.
And then we chose to not go down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
Well, now we know.
None of us, when we're drawing on the map, drew a penis, which is quite impressive.
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
Sorry, Gandalf.
All right. So there you go. Labyrinth revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you want to see the true path, since you've kind of
Oh.
got that covered.
Can we have the mine shaft revealed?
douche.
Yeah, that was a dick move.
It's all revealed to Akeem, the mine shaft.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, oof. We went down.
You were busy.
Just at a slower pace.
It's true. We were busy.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's the labyrinth. Good job,
Very nice.
everyone. You made it through. Let's go back to the
Yay!
Oh, it looks like
That's-
my zoom level might save between maps. I don't know if it did that
Might.
before, but it's nice.
They definitely overhauled it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. Anyway,
Anyway.
so now it's the next morning, and first let me check Okay.
I'm just going to point this out quickly. Having now actually managed to get everything working on the computer, I have been able to do things I've never done before in this game, like click and move on the map without it crashing.
What?
Actually draw and interact with the map without it crashing. I can actually draw stuff now.
Well, shit.
Sorcery.
Not using Google Chromery.
Good job. So, you wake up. It's the next morning. You probably have a lion. You've earned it after everything you've done. And do you all still have access to the resources spreadsheet? Because now that you've kind of, I assume, there's nothing super imminent, and you have now explored all of the available fortress, you can start to make tactical decisions. So if you want something that's not on the resource spreadsheet, it's got 2 tabs. It's got resources that you earn per day, and actually I need to...
It's just pinned somewhere.
Yes, it should be.
Got it.
Oh, you got it.
Is it on admin or logistics?
Discord general pinned comments.
General.
Alternatively, go to Google Docs or Google Drive and search for resources is the document name. And it's owned by...
Hang on, let me find that. Pins. Here we go. Resources.
We only have 4 elves.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, like, breed them?
Why?
Then you have
more elves do stuff.
more. I suggest a raid on the nearby elven village if you want that kind of sweet slavery efficiency that you're getting there.
What is your opinion about us researching selective breeding, so we can get the desired traits that we want out of our farmyard animals?
We're not
Crusader
doing
dwarves.
elven eugenics, you guys. I draw a line.
Okay.
No
Okay.
elven eugenics.
Sorry, I forgot this is Dwarf Fortress, not Crusader Kings.
I don't know, that's quite Dwarf Fortress, but not with elves.
Moving swiftly on.
Anyway, and so you've got the resources thing, and you've got the buildings thing. I think I've talked through this before. If there's any confusion, let me know. I've added thorough block of doorway. Because that seemed to be an objective. So that would be like a proper stone blockage of the labyrinth, if that's what you want. It would take 1 day, 100 gold worth of resources. You have 647.4, and it would take 1 of your 3 stone.
Okay. Honestly, I think that's got to be our highest priority right now, just because we're not certain that it's safe down there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do we want to block it, or do we want to go? Can we? So we've got the 100-foot wooden fence option.
Yeah, so that's just if you want, because I want to kind of give you the option to develop the map outside the fortress, kind of, and inside, as you want. So be like, we're gonna dig out a room here, and we're gonna build a
So
fence
what I
here
was
and
wondering
all that.
is, can we use the 100-foot wooden fence option to basically, where we've got the room we've gone into, we've got the room with all the pillars,
Yeah.
to basically build barricades and kind of temporary.
Yeah, like a wooden murder corridor.
Basically, yeah, so that we can stick some dwarves in there guarding it. So because if we thoroughly block it, if for some reason we need to go back in there, we've got to mine it out and then block it up again. Whereas if we just build, literally just fortify that corridor.
Put dwarves there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got enough dwarves to stick 2 dwarves on it, haven't we? We've got soldiers.
I think I'd prefer to just block it up. But that's me. I'd rather have the dwarves doing other things.
So
Okay, that's fair.
both
So,
options,
like,
but yeah,
woods.
just
side of
Like,
it.
I'd rather have dwarves. Like, yeah.
If we just block it up, it means that we can use all of the rooms on
Yeah.
it. Whereas if we sort of turn the whole thing into a murder corridor, then it just becomes harder to use those rooms that are above it.
Oh, sorry, as in we're going to use those rooms up above, are we?
I mean, we can do now.
We can,
in theory.
yeah.
Once
Have
cleared
we? Have we explored? Because we've got where the steps were, but we never went back there and explored all those other rooms.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
yeah, we
Did
did
we?
the whole thing.
You have explored all these rooms.
When did we do that?
The
Before we
session
went down.
into the labyrinth.
Because I thought we did like all the rooms off to the sides and that, but not that whole complex behind.
We definitely did.
Yeah, because
Oh no, because that's the little girl's bedroom was over there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, ignore me.
no worries. It's very different when you see the whole map.
Mm.
Yes,
Hard to.
I hadn't realised quite how that all connected like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'd definitely be using this part of the fortress as well.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could just block off that labyrinth. Then that would work.
It does give us other resources. What else do we want to focus on?
So if there's something that's not listed that you want, we can add it. And you are also. I just want to encourage like making the map, which has been a dungeon map so far, feel quite like tactile. So you can just label rooms with like we have done with the bedrooms. Say, you know, these rooms are going to be this thing, and these rooms are going to be this thing, and yeah, like add stuff. And yeah, if you want something that's not on the list, like your suggestion of the murder corridor, there'll be equivalents, or I can just add it because it's not hard for me to add things to that.
There is nothing. I know we've built the bridge bit of the drawbridge, but we haven't turned it into a functioning drawbridge yet.
Oh yeah, that's the thing to put on the list.
Yes.
Is that then a moat that it's going over?
Yeah.
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 Lava.
It's true.
That's a big project.
Pump lava up to the surface.
I've read Boat Murdered. I know how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
I've played Terraria. I know how this works.
I've played Terraria with you. Let's not. Miles. Obviously, I'm captain. Wasn't here for a large portion of this campaign. That bit over to the right, above where the pubs and the rooms are,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is that a mine?
That's an arena.
Okay. Have we got a mine?
Well,
West.
sort of.
The mines are here. I will
that's-
add a label.
Yeah.
The very far west of the
Right.
fortress. Assuming this is like north-south aligned.
Yeah.
If it's not, Katie's a monster.
It is.
Okay.
I
Because
labelled
we
them.
should probably get mining.
So the problem
here's
with
the
that
thing.
is there is a big stone door which is sealed. We had some deep dwarves come poke around in it. That's where during that combat is where Dax's previous character died. There are more deep dwarves down there. We have sealed off the area to the mine at the minute until we're ready to go to war with the deep dwarf kingdoms.
I mean, we do need to go down there.
At some
soon.
point. Mm.
Like that's our
Yeah,
next
I
step.
mean-
But like that whole water was infested with underdark, hook horrors of something, spores and things. We drove that out, put that back, but like clearly somewhere down what is a 1,000-foot shaft with a couple, I think 5 offshoots at various height levels. There is at least one of those breaks through directly into the underdark system.
Right. Okay.
We
So
haven't gone. We need to at some point repair that lift, go down,
Mhm.
check where all the cuts off are.
There's a reason that this fort has built this big stone door in front of the mines, because I think they knew that they'd broken into something big.
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. So in terms of what we've got then, to actually put like Dwarf Fortress head on for a minute, is there anything like resource wise that we don't have a dedicated space for? And how much do we know about the immediate area outside the fortress, like within a day's walk?
We've actually got some decent scouting on that.
Yes, if I take you to the local map.
Overworld.
Overworld, go.
Right, let me try this again.
So you haven't specifically scouted for resources per se. If you wanted to scout for things such as, clay, I guess, or deposits that are closer to the surface, perhaps, in the nearby mountains, things like that, you're welcome to do so if you want to dispatch scouts for that purpose.
Right, so have we got a decent water supply?
There is one that runs into the fortress as part of the plumbing. It was poisoned. We have since purified that.
Yeah. So as you can
Okay.
see, I put the plumbing into the resource building system. So it's currently underway with about 2 days. Sorry, that was yesterday. And I've got one day remaining to it.
Dawn of the final day.
Yes.
Because once we have
And
the
then
plumbing
Everyone
set
will
up,
be clean.
water, we have baths, which are down in the southeast of the fort.
Okay, so there's on the overworld map.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
two.
Keep you on there.
I was just gonna say that there's two named places there that aren't where we are. What are they?
Sellwater is a group of sort of semi-nomadic humans that came down from the north. We are on good trade relations with them.
Okay.
To the south is Nurami, which is a well-built-up elven settlement that you get there through going through a magical gate. It's all on the trees. We are on actually quite good terms with it at the minute, as we returned a lot of stolen wedding goods that a kobold went and robbed one of their weddings, where we took the kobold back and returned the goods. And I think we left on pretty good terms with them.
Okay, that's fine. So we've got nearby neighbours that we can trade with.
Yeah.
We were also told that the humans in Sellwater were fleeing from something further north, were like orcs and stuff, something like that.
We are moderately sure that they were hiding things, but they
Yeah.
mentioned fleeing from orcs and something else.
So it might be worth investigating that further, just in case an orc tribe or whatever shows up and causes problems.
Yeah, and they did make a deal with the elves, and you can see in my resources spreadsheet that it is negatively affecting the value produced by your laborers, because they agreed to dedicate resources to replanting trees.
Yeah.
For each tree
Right.
cut down. I will take you back to the fortress. Let me know if
Okay.
there's a specific map you want.
Right. Okay. So, sorry. Carry on.
I was saying, in terms of what we want to work on for projects, we can only work on 3 at once. There is still 1 more day of fixing the plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that getting the mines operational or in working towards that is a good medium-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think before we do that, we should work. We need to have the military equipment improved, so we have actual properly armed guard dwarves that can
Right.
go. So if we're going to reopen the mines, we're going to go out into the area, so we actually have equipped people.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to do that before we get that done, and I think that it takes a while, 10 days. That might be a good thing to work on.
Mm-hmm.
That, or we do the workshops. Bedrooms feel a little bit lucky. We have 2 taverns. We don't need to work on that.
So, have we got how are we feeding ourselves? Is that based off the farms outside?
And the clerics.
Farms, foraging, and clerics at the minute.
Okay. So, if we lose access to the outdoors, how do we feed ourselves? Is it just the clerics?
You have traded a stockpile of smoked and preserved kind of meats from the human Sellwater kind of group. So you have got that, and I believe you've been kind of holding that in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, because basically my. Hang on, no, let me work this out for a sec. Ignore me. I'm gonna work some stuff out in the background.
Yeah. So between that and clerics, your food, even if you were unable to access the outside, your food supplies would last quite a while. I don't have the numbers, but I can work them out if you want.
Don't worry too much about it. We're doing all right, basically.
How much in terms of? I'm trying to work out the middle between what is a sensible thing to do as a player and what is what I would suggest in character and where the
Okay.
the kind of spot between those is. Is there anything from that we had access to in the old fortress that we obviously don't here that would be noticeable and something that we would? Is there something sort of culturally or something we were all used to that we haven't got here that we would notice not having access to as characters? Like you know what I mean, in terms of like we can sit and kind of go, yeah, we need this and this, but in real life, if we didn't have a thing, is there something that's so painfully obvious that we would be like, we haven't got this thing? Like,
your previous fortress was a hub of trade. It was like Dwarf Vegas, right?
Yes.
So
okay.
Yeah.
so it had like gambling. And,
Yeah.
So if you wanted, it would maybe seem. I could add something like fixing up that first entrance area.
Like a meeting trade hall sort of thing.
To become like a trade hall. Or indeed converting that first set of rooms with the Fearless Ham Tavern could be quite easily made into like a outsider specific thing.
We'd need more visitors to the fort before that becomes super relevant, though. I think.
Yes.
I think the core stuff that I think we would all notice the lack of is lack of ability to wash ourselves and bathe.
Yeah.
Lack of clothing, because we have literally the clothes that we are wearing, and that's it.
Yes.
Shrines to the gods of your previous fortress, somewhere to pray.
Food, animals. I don't know how we can fix that, but we need them. Meats.
It's going to be a trade for them, I would imagine.
And some way of generating booze that isn't just using up the stocks that we currently have.
So a member of your fortress did create, I believe the session before last, the Poet's Legacy. With sort of local foraged stuff they found.
I think some of what we're growing is durable as well.
Well, this is the thing. So I'm thinking we might be foraging some of the ingredients for that, but the question is how sustainable is the foraging for producing large quantities of alcohol? Like if we wanted not just like we wanted a regular drinking ale for all of the dwarves to have, how are we going to produce that much ale?
I assume we can farm that effectively.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Probably.
the other thing I would ask is from the dwarf fortress perspective, in terms of sort of staple crops and that, are mushrooms going to be a thing?
So mushrooms. Your characters will probably be aware from your previous fortress, because you did have the Underdark explorers, the iron. I've forgotten what they were.
The Ironclads.
Ironclads, that was it. Iron somethings. They were explorers of the Underdark. So you'll be aware that there is edible fungus that grows underground, but it needs to be deeper than anywhere in your current fortress. So they're not quite as easy as in Dwarf Fortress.
Okay, no, not a problem. Yeah, it's just I'm having an occasional struggle with trying to work out how much is porting over, kind of.
Yeah, so what feel free to ask questions, because it's obviously, I'm happy to decide that. And also, with things like food, so the current state of it, I think essentially I was tracking food very precisely. And then you reached a point where you had a cleric with create food and water, and you had a large stockpile of food that you had traded for. So it became less of a pressing issue and got absorbed into miscellaneous, like the gold resource pile. If you want me to separate food out again, I can, but I think you are producing enough food.
I think at this point, if both clerics spend all their third levels, so a day we're not doing anything else on create food and water, that's 90 people that can be fed.
and your population is 65, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
it kind of became a bit trivial.
like,
So we're not tracking that.
got it at the moment.
For getting booze up and running enough to supply the fortress, so I wouldn't particularly count that against your food stores since you're at a surplus. I'd add that as maybe like a building to get everything set up to make
Right,
lots
because
of
we'd need stills and we'd
barrels
need
and stills and
all of the whole.
That's what I was going to ask you about camping in, because if we're looking at a brewery, we're looking at essentially sort of arable crops. If we're looking at stills, then we can look to other things, or we could look at vats of wine and.
Like you can make like distilled spirits out of mash from arable crops, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
there
yeah,
are
yeah,
other-
absolutely.
There are other options if you're doing it that way.
so I've
But you've
added-
also yeah.
Sorry, I've added brewing for 100 dwarves, basically. So if you create, if you choose that one, it will add 100 dwarves worth of alcohol. Just so that if your population went up a lot, you'd have to build more. But that's
Wait, we create 100 dwarves out of alcohol?
yes. Is that not how they're made?
Is that how we make more dwarves?
Yes.
I mean, to be fair,
Surprise.
So yeah, that will supply 100 dwarves with alcohol.
Moving towards making decisions, we have 2 more projects that can currently be worked on. I am vaguely of the opinion that we should get to work on workshops.
yeah, I was just going to say that's going to be.
Because it's a prerequisite for so much.
Yeah.
Else, like we want any produced goods at all. If we want to get, in fact, it's probably a prerequisite for like basically everything here because that will, improving
much,
military
yeah.
equipment,
It's true.
building furniture for bedrooms, the drawbridge mechanisms, all the brewing stuff. Like all of that is going to be contingent on having at least a workshop producing the raw components.
Yeah, it's
It's
kind
also
of
going to.
at the top for that reason. I kind of thought it would be
Yeah.
necessary.
It's also going to boost up our trade capacity as well once we start to produce
Yes,
worked goods.
I'm with you on that.
Also, given that in terms of the money that we've got, we can't. Things like all bedrooms would wipe us out of cash, basically. Having something that is going to provide an income, I mean, workshops is going to pay for itself more so than really anything else there.
Mhm.
Though I'd also put in a shelf getting the hospital fixed.
Do we have anyone? I think mostly we're kind of healed though by now, right?
We are, but if we're going to look at improving military equipment, we're going to want that hospital. We're going to need access to that hospital when we start to use dwarves to do military stuff. Because if we end up with military dwarves getting injured, we can't wait to build a hospital for them.
You have got clerics.
True.
But that could end up consuming spell slots and stuff that we might need to feed the fortress. And
Yes, especially if you were in a siege situation, you would need those.
Yeah.
I am inclined to put that towards phase 2, which is when we want to reopen stuff. We do the hospital, we do military equipment.
Yeah.
Phase 1 to me is like, let's get the workshops done, let's get the drawbridge done. Let's pick a vanity project rather than doing everything practical, which to me would be basic shrines.
Yeah, I will say I'm not gonna. I haven't introduced like a stat for morale because it's more of a vibe thing about how you lot are doing and how you're treating the dwarves of the fortress. But if it's all practical and it's been a month and you've built all this military stuff, but no one has a door on their bedroom still.
Yeah.
Not so
I would like to suggest then that our 3 projects are all workshops, fixed plumbing, and throw a block of doorway. And then tomorrow, when we finish fixing the plumbing, we pick a vanity project.
I would agree, and my vote would probably be a bee shrine. Because
Oh, and also we'll finish blocking the doorway as well tomorrow, so that we can get 2 projects done in one day.
Is everyone happy?
Yeah.
Yes, I would put in a counterpoint for the vanity project of doing the shrines. Given that, so effectively, as far as I understand this, the party is the de facto kind of leadership of what's going on.
Yes, and I don't think you were here for that part, but at the start when we were kind of setting expectations, I said there might be factions competing for the attention of the four of you, but it's kind of intended that you are the de facto rulers, and I'm not planning for you to receive a lot of power challenges, because part of the conceit of the game is that you get to make these kinds of building decisions for the fortress.
Yeah. What I would say then, that actually helps with what I was going to say, is in relation to kind of getting the vibe and the morale and that, we have a party that is Ranger, Cleric, Paladin. If one of the first things we do is we're going to fix all the shrines, it looks a little bit like 3/4 of the party have gone do our stuff first.
I will point out maybe context that we didn't explain. Our previous fortress was a theocracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That was okay. I think I might have been aware of that, but I've slept since then.
Yeah,
It's understandable. Yeah.
I would be inclined to say I think that how much is doing all the shrines going to cost? That was the thing. Is that 200? Is that 200 for all the shrines? It's 200 per shrine.
It's 200 per shrine.
Oh, I misunderstood that. I thought that was for like a basic setup of shrines.
If you want like a really basic setup, you could probably do like a cheaper version. But my intention is that once you've got a shrine set up, and I will maybe introduce things like upkeep for that, but once they're set up, that god will be looking favorably upon your fortress kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right, I misunderstood that.
Because if it's 200 per shrine, I suggest that we fix the bedrooms first.
So it's intended that kind of you choose a god carefully because it's quite expensive, and then it may have upkeep, but then that god will benefit you.
Okay. In that case, let's consider how much cash we're going to have once we've completed like the sort of the three most pressing projects that we've got. If we're all agreed that we're doing these three, because that's going to be a total of 400 gold off our resources when we complete them. What will we be able to afford once we've done that?
So your specialists will be much more effective once they have workshops to use.
Okay.
And in terms of the value produced, what's the time scale for that?
This is per day.
Per day, okay. Yeah. Okay, so we potentially have the capacity to actually kick out a decent amount of... Okay. I think I would agree with the three that we've kind of come to the conclusion to do. And I would suggest that we go for it and see what things are like tomorrow. Or in 3 days' time when the workshops are done.
Yeah, knowing how much the specialists are going to produce once the workshops are done is going to change our decision making.
I'm on board with that.
Okay.
Any viewpoints, Pete? You've been quite quiet.
I'm fine. No, I'm fine with it.
So
Singebeard is very pro shrine, obviously.
Yes.
And also getting the mine open because, like, we need metal to actually make freaking weapons, guys. But we'll generally just go along with like whatever at this point.
Oh, that's a thought. Once we've completed these projects, what's our resource situation going to look like?
I'm gonna get you to. Since you're all decided, I'm gonna subtract the cost up front.
Sure.
So you will be left with 347. But
you adding in because we'll gain some for a day as well.
300, is it not 247?
It's 200 for the workshops and 100 for the thorough block
doorway.
Oh, have you already subtracted for the plumbing?
I think that was already...
So the plumbing kind of happened before I created this system, so I've taken it as already underway.
Sure, that makes sense.
And already subtracted, which is why there's only 1 day remaining. It's already in progress. So, you wake up, and there's much excitement as you start to issue orders, because this does mark a shift in your fortress, and the atmosphere is quite hopeful, despite the recent loss of Akeem. And yeah, dwarves are kind of getting back to what they do. You know, they're getting back to, as you start to rebuild the workshops, crafts dwarfs are excited to practice their craft again. It's something that, you know, it brings a lot of meaning when you've dedicated your life to a craft, and you probably don't realize that how much you've missed doing it. And yeah, the fortress is hopeful. You have, as you've gone through, assigned dwarves to cleaning the fortress. So the fortress is in pretty good shape, and it's not long. And by the end of the first day, you know, there's torches up, and there's children running down the corridors, and there's just light and hope.
Can I?
Then the DM arrived.
Can I double check a couple of things, because
Yes.
there being torches up and light and shockingly relevant to me.
Yeah.
In terms of all workshops, does that include my one in my suite?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. In that case, what I'll have been doing while this is going on is helping out and putting torches everywhere then.
Mhm.
And getting everything lit up. And
Yeah, that can just be entirely your doing as well. That could have been your work for the day that you've done, and it's brought this like cozy atmosphere.
yeah, like as soon as I do that, Falca will kind of drop back into what was her job for her whole life and just start making sure everything's lit up and that, and getting all that done. In terms of, on a completely different tangent, we've got all the plumbing sorted now. Where is it?
So we're kind of on the first day.
Oh, there they are. Sorry, I hadn't noticed where the baths were. I didn't know where they were.
Yeah, I understand.
But
They're
I've
in
just
kind of
found
a
them.
weird place.
To the sort of southeast of the fortress.
Yeah, they're in my room. It's fine.
Oh, prime location for a bath.
I know.
So by the end of the first day, that positive, hopeful atmosphere is even more reinforced by the clanking and clattering of the pipes coming back to life. Now, you are all a bit cautious because of the previous poison, but after some tests and some magic, which I assume you do, I don't think I need to ask that, the water seems to be fine. And yeah, the mood's a lot better as people are able to take baths for the first time.
Should we just chuck an elf in first to make sure it's...
Yeah, as a test. You have 4 elves. This also means the elves can now go more inside the fortress now that you have torches up. Given that it was a little hard for them to see before. So even though they have horrible living conditions, even they are a little bit happier. And yes, wait, let me find her name. Yes, your slightly eccentric engineer, Ezra, she emerges very proudly from the plumbing control area up here, absolutely covered in, like, grime, but very smug looking. And she is one of the first to have a bath.
Really? I was expecting her to not have a bath and run to me and be like, I did it, I get to poke the arena now, right?
She'll be getting right on that. But even she wants a bath now that they're an option. It's been a very long time. And we never really talked about it, but the sort of communal bath thing in the fortress, I've always, for this fortress, kind of abstracted them as like, they're just like they're the sort of, it's like a social activity. They're the kind of communal bath type thing.
I accept
Yeah,
that.
it's legit.
Unless there's, yeah. I have the map, so it's a bit late if it's if anyone's...
Are you saying that this anime has a bathhouse episode?
This is the filler bathhouse episode.
Amazing.
You've had like
I
the
mean-
gritty plot the last episode, and now they're lightening it up.
If you want a nosebleed that badly, I can sort it out for you a different way.
Just full chainmail, like yukatas and kimonos and stuff. It'll be fine.
Not okay with that. Sorry, doing that now.
We never defined, really, did we, the style of clothing for your fortress?
Oh yeah, we did. It's called full plate.
Latex singlets and
I
Oh.
never want to hear you say the word latex singlet to me ever again.
Okay. So that is finished by the end of the first day, and as you finish that day, it went very quickly, and I think that's because of the enthusiasm of the dwarves to like finally claim the whole fortress as their own. The blocking of the doorway to the labyrinth. So as these new workshops are being built, maybe they do one of the masons ones first, so that they can carve these like perfectly fitting stone blocks to perfectly block the doorway and fit in all the like bits of smashed stone, and it's all beautifully crafted and seamless. This blocks
Excellent.
the thing. I will block it.
And now we will never remember that it's down there for the entire rest of the campaign
Don't
until
worry about
something emerges from the dark.
no, somebody will get like abducted and taken down there, and it will just turn into the Upside Down.
Is the dwarf fortress so constructed? Stone walls are pretty much invincible. I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
Which means the thing that does break it down is going to be particularly terrifying.
Well, yes.
Damn a Corkin.
Okay,
It's a different
Cool.
thing. Cool.
cool. We've
So
got like a whole bunch of stuff done.
yeah, it's a very busy day.
It feels so good to like have the whole map explored now and the fortress be ours. It's like that chapter complete. Chapter 2 begins.
Yes. It's a fun thing. And you do have picks as well, if you would like to dig out new areas, although this is pretty spacious for your current population.
hmm
Uh,
Yeah, I think we're good for the moment. Tell you what I would like to do. I know everyone like the other people and like have actual jobs to do, whereas I'm a military spawn and therefore have nothing to do. Is I would like to go with Ezra to the arena.
Mhm.
And like after some time like observing her like operating and fiddling around with it, I kind of want to set up an archery range.
Yeah?
Basically just because I need to train. That's a thing I need to do.
Yeah. She's
so-
super excited for the excuse to help you. You've got the useful work out of her. And she wants to play with this for a while before she has to go hook up the drawbridge. So she is absolutely delighted to play with the
Excellent.
fun arena and set up your archery range.
Awesome. I might need to craft some more arrows as well at some
You
point.
also probably want to supervise so that it doesn't get too wacky. But,
Yeah, this is what I'm telling everyone else. I'm telling everyone else that I'm doing this to just make sure that nothing gets set on fire or monsters get released.
And there's a lot of like scary machinery noises where it's fine, everything's fine, clang. But she seems to be setting up some kind of moving target. Obviously, she only just finished the plumbing, so she's not gonna finish it today. But some kind of moving target thing going on. She's got big plans, but not a lot gets done.
That is entirely reasonable.
An engineer.
She's got cool designs, but doesn't really put any of them into practice.
It's because they gotta make more designs.
Ah, Peter Molyneux.
Ah,
Call back to earlier on.
Ha! Okay,
Cool.
good work. Doing the fortressy bit. And
Yay!
there are no dramatic events happen during the day as well, which is nice. And so that evening, given that things have just finished, you get a chance to plan out the next day. You know, it helps when you send people to bed with orders so they can wake up and get to work immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 days remaining on the workshops, but because you have spent time on them, I'm going to say, in the same way that I said you've kind of blocked the doorway using the mason's workshop because you built that first, it's not unreasonable for you to have built maybe one of each. So if you want to start on something else, I'll say you have the workshops to do it.
All right, well, I think I will defer to you folks on what we do next.
Oh, and you get resources.
Let's see, what do we want to do? We're good on the food situation. We don't need more fields right now. We don't really have the elves to work them.
That is my bigger concern. I mean, more fields is just good to have, but if we don't have workers for them, there's not much we can do with it.
Getting the bedrooms just seems like a nice one.
We've only got enough money to do half of it, though.
Yeah.
You have got 421 today.
Yeah. Like in 3 days we can afford the bedrooms, but I think we have to spend the whole 600 up front, I imagine.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, I mean, we could just focus on finishing the workshop and then do bedrooms when we can afford it, and that's all of our cash. But I think that might honestly be a good idea. Just work on this being a home while we've got some time. The only thing we're missing, really, I guess, is the drawbridge being raisable.
Yeah.
In case something happens. But
So we've got the Golden Horseshoe and the Fearless Ham.
Yeah.
Are they actually set up as fully working taverns?
They
Or
are.
are they a bit cobbled?
They are being used, but they are cobbled.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, for the sake of 4 days, chucking 150 at actually establishing one of them as a fully functioning tavern, particularly when we've got a lot of work going on. If we go, it's going to take you this amount of time to finish this. We've got 2 more days left on the workshops. If we have then 2 days after that, a tavern opens, and then we start, we see how much money we've got. That then gives us a little bit more time to get some money going, and also, we can. That's also a good morale thing too.
I would agree with that. I think get
We've
the
got
tavern working, and then we need to look at something that improves our income.
We've got
dwarven
water.
priorities.
Now let's get proper water.
Yeah, we've got water. Now we need to get beer, and
Something
then we can work on basic economy.
We've got a water source. Now we need to get something we can actually drink.
Agreed.
Yes, I just love that dwarven priorities here is getting the taverns working before we have proper beds and doors on our bedrooms.
Look, if you drink enough beer, it doesn't matter where you sleep.
Exactly. Who needs a bedroom when there's lots of empty rooms to stagger into? We can afford a pub. We can't afford a bedroom.
Well, it's because it's 70 bedrooms.
Yeah, I prefer my wording.
In fairness, the tavern is much more efficient in terms of gold per day.
Yeah.
Or rather, it's much more inefficient in terms of gold per day. But we actually kind of want inefficient things because there's a very big risk that we're just going to blow through all of our cash and then have to sit around and wait until we build up more. Whereas doing the cheap but slow projects and having them sort of continuing onwards in the background lets us build up some money for the big expensive ones.
I agree.
I'm assuming, I'm making the really blatant assumption that the tavern will have a morale effect. Will it have any kind of resource effect as well?
The tavern will be purely morale.
Okay.
I may add building upkeep at some point if you build expensive things, but I think kind of the morale, the costs of running a tavern, the cost of producing alcohol and dwarves serving in the tavern will be cancelled out by the productivity boost of morale.
What I'm wondering specifically is once we've got workshops established, so we've got a proper brewery and things like that, and we've got things like that. If we've got basically tavern, workshops, and brewing and all that going on, is there a chance of getting enough to trade?
If you, with the brewing, because the brewing is 100 dwarves worth of booze, which is apparently the unit that we're going to use now.
It's universally accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a week's worth.
So
Per
that's more than your population, and some of your population are like elves, and Aarakocra, who don't drink as much. So you will have excess alcohol to trade.
And I'm working on the assumption that dwarven ale would be not desirable for people who are not dwarves, because it's a rarity.
Yes, it's probably of interest to other races that drink. So your brewer has only created the one kind of local-ish brew, and your crops haven't quite emerged yet. So it's not from crops; it's from foraging. But you have got the poet's legacy.
Good
As I
berry
recall,
wine.
we already had a load of brew recipes that the Sellwater guy wanted that we didn't give him. So that we must have some quality recipes.
So you have some recipes. You think your brewer Istik doesn't really share them with anyone ever, but a lot of them were much more relevant to the resources you had in the old fortress.
That makes sense.
So you won't be able to do things that require a lot of aging. Would take time to get going that you probably don't really have, and things that require quite specific fancy equipment you don't really have, and also the plants are different. So
Can we reverse engineer Uncle What's His Face's crazy cobalt stuff?
you can try it. No one's tried it yet. No one's been brave enough.
I mean, I think we should say that a celebration of when we've got workshops.
I think maybe on the grand opening, reopening of the tavern.
Yes, let's get blitzed.
We crack out all of the aristocratic ale.
Yes, and as the new aristocrats, that we make bad life choices that night.
Yeah. Speaking of being aristocrats, are any of you intending to move bedrooms at all? There are the former royal suites.
That's a bloody good point.
I was wondering about that.
It's definitely a power.
You literally have an entire wing to yourself.
So Isden's going to feel probably a bit uncomfortable about this, because nobody has told him that he's basically
Class traitor.
Yeah, I mean, he's a soldier. I'm kind of sort of OC assuming that he's now sort of basically, in theory, in charge of the military for the fortress.
Yeah, the method of it is kind of the details are a roleplay thing.
Yeah, I think he's not yet sort of twigged that maybe he has any sort of important role yet. So he probably is not going to suggest moving, or if the others do, he's probably going to stay where he is.
Yeah.
I think Falco wouldn't suggest moving, but would wait and see if somebody else brought it up first.
Yes. It's quite obvious from the map, I think, but there is a big disparity in these rooms in terms of general luxuriousness, engravings, things like that. It seems to be quite an unequal fortress. So it would be... it depends on how much your characters pick up on that sort of thing, I guess. Yeah, it's a useful power statement, place to hold meetings, that sort of thing.
Tell you what.
Yeah, insight. But yeah, you would be removed from the population quite a bit, physically, you'd be living far away from them.
So
It
here's
definitely
where I'm
has
at with it.
benefits, drawbacks.
Maybe when things are a bit more built up and settled, and specifically when we've had some sort of formalization of government hierarchy, etc.
Hmm.
If we take those positions, which I think OC we've kind of agreed that we will,
Yeah,
we can maybe move in there as part of that.
I like that.
But
Yeah,
we need to
I mean-
establish like an official sense of government before we do that.
From basic things like a safety point of view, if stuff goes on and we're in those rooms, we are so far removed from the rest of the fortress. If we need help, no one's going to get to us in time.
And similarly, if they need help, then we're not there to sort shit out.
Also, if we move up into those rooms, depending on where we go in those rooms, that blocked off entrance to the labyrinth is between us and the rest of the fortress. And while we might know on an OC level, nothing's probably going to get through that, on an IC level, it's between us and any help we're going to get.
Hmm.
I mean,
We
are
are the help.
Well, yeah, but there are
nothing
going to
else.
be like soldiers and stuff once we've got all that kind of stuff organised, and I'd rather be nearer the soldiers than blocked from the soldiers by the most likely source of enemies. But it's the same with the blocked off door to the mines as well. Like, the door to the mines would be as close to us as all the rest of the dwarves would be. So
Oh,
we're
mine's
in
the
a
biggest
we're in an
threat,
exposed position there. Also, there's loads of dead bodies in. It's gross.
There aren't dead bodies.
I mean,
Well, not now we've cleared them.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like, were.
There were dead bodies everywhere in this fortress.
Some of them were, especially considering they were moving around.
Well, while we're talking about the dead bodies,
Love the segue.
yeah, Iston is going to he's not making a point of it. It's just a thing that he does. Because I was sort of deciding on some character quirks for him, and he collects gemstones.
Yes.
So he's just going to go and collect one representative gemstone of each of the types for the corpses in the fortress.
Yeah. So
Just so
each
he has them.
one, I think we detailed before, has one main type of gemstone,
Mhm.
and then 2 extras. They're sometimes different, or sometimes
okay,
one
that's
extra,
interesting.
sometimes no extras. So it'll be, say, all amethyst or all amethyst and 1 turquoise, or kind of up to 2 others. I believe I might just be. I think you've all previously kind of realised this, but it was quite a while ago.
Some sort of class structure assigned by the gems, right?
Yes, that was your previous conclusion.
It's truly outrageous.
Are you kind of particularly investigating as you collect these, or are you just collecting them?
Not at all. He's literally just interested in them because he collects gemstones.
Okay.
So he's just going to take a nice one of each of them, and he's just not going to say anything more about it.
I will send you a list of all of the types that you find.
Ooh.
Out of interest, though, on the subject, the shiny signet ring I've got, has that got a gemstone on it?
The shiny signet ring has no gemstone.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's a big chunk of them.
Those are all of the types of gemstone that can be found on the beards of these dwarves.
Awesome. I'll put this on my character sheet.
You have some of each of them.
Mhm.
So the more specific ones, the diamonds are, you're not paying particular attention. So you get 1 diamond, you get 1 sapphire, and you get 2 emeralds.
Okay.
Like the nerd you are.
just likes gemstones.
This is a
In
dwarf.
your defense, they're shiny.
Very
Yeah. He likes them for their glittery something or other. For their glittery reflections. That's what he likes them for.
Now we have established is to distract the objects.
Secretly playing a magpie Aarakocra.
I'm just every time we come across any kind of gemstones now, he's just going to compare it to this big list of gemstones that he's acquired, and just like, do I have one of these? Got to collect them all.
Yeah, how do you display your collection? They are all beads, all these ones. They're like...
Yeah, so I think in his room is not it's kind of relatively Spartan, the room that he's in. So he probably has he's currently keeping them probably in a bag, not on display yet, unless he can somehow acquire like a display case from somewhere. I don't think we have any glass in the fortress or
No.
any glass production in the fortress.
No, you have no glass production. And if glass production is something you'd like, I can put it on the spreadsheet, but you'd need to do some scouting to find...
Yeah, that's like way down on the list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to just like leave them out, but maybe he has like a box, just like a regular box that he just has them in.
Yeah, okay. Is anyone else doing anything specific? So at the moment it's kind of like it'll be when we're in this kind of fortressy, more fortressy mode, time can advance at a faster pace if everyone wants.
Yes, sorry.
That'd be good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it sounds like you're going to focus on building for a while and aren't really planning many expeditions out into the world to nearby settlements or anything.
I think, yeah, we're focused. We've sort of like got everything taking over. We finished exploring. We want to get. We're doing as much while we've got an optimal situation. There are no current threats. We are making bricks while the sun shines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll start going through these days at a slightly faster pace, a bit more abstract and things. If there's anything in particular that any of you want to do over the span of the next, say, week or so, and then we'll start to advance days, unless events.
So I have a thing I'd like to do. I
Yes.
would like to speak to the people that are foraging
Yep.
and see if they found anything that can be used as a dye.
So some of them aren't entirely sure what they would look for that, but some of them have indeed. They found these kind of like quite brightly coloured red flowers, and what I will do at some point is possibly assign a calendar to the game, because I think we're definitely at the point where we need that. I have a calendar, GM calendar of events, but it's just got numbers rather than months and things. So I will assign that at some point. They found quite strongly pigmented red flowers, which can be mashed and used.
Okay, essentially what I want to stuff that will dye things, bright colours, and stuff that will smell nice when burned, and basically just start varying up. Like when I put torches up, try and put ones that have got like bundles of herbs in it that will smell nice and that kind of thing, because an underground fortress can smell bad.
Yeah, and you
So I want to kind of
especially
do that.
you try and put like slightly stronger smelling candles in the workshop area, maybe.
Yeah.
Where there's sort of industry going on.
Yeah, basically I'm going to focus on doing little things to try and improve morale. Not for any kind of benefit or anything, just because it's just what Falca would do.
Yeah,
And that's what I'll be doing.
that's what you'll be doing. Got it. I guess Isden's enjoying his fun new moving target range, and
Yeah.
possibly some of the military are having a go as well.
Yeah, he'd encourage them to get involved. The other thing that he wants to do over the course of the week is basically make sure he has a full stock of arrows. So I have, if it helps, I think I have proficiency in Fletcher's tools.
Yeah.
So I just want to maybe grab a workshop for a while and just make myself
Yeah.
a bunch of arrows.
You can do that. I don't think it's horrible spoilers to say you'll have some time before anything happens now to build up your fortress, so you can sort of safely declare, like, I'm going to do this thing that takes a while.
Sure.
But since you're in charge of the guard patrols and things, there's a random light orb there from a long time ago. Let's get rid of that. Since you are in charge of the military and things, you have 10 soldiers? Yes. 10 soldiers. Approximately how... So that's kind of about 3 that you have at any given time to keep 24 hours covered.
Yeah. Gotta have them on shift.
Yeah. So, where are you gonna put them?
So specifically, we need people on watch at the front of the fortress, I think, and we need probably at least somebody on watching the mine door or listening at the mine door. So
kind of
I'm gonna
2 at the front, 1 at the mine.
Yeah, this is where I kind of want like one more soldier, just so we're not putting people on guard duty on their own.
Yeah, that's a bad plan.
That is a bad plan. You know what? If I join them, we will have 11,
Yeah.
and that's almost enough for 3 shifts of 4.
Yeah, if you just like make some of them work longer shifts, which you could
Yeah,
probably do, that's enough.
Like I will volunteer to take double shifts on some days, and basically we just want to have 2 out the front and 2 on the mine door currently.
Okay. You can do that. Does anyone else have any particular activities they're going to do for this sort of time skip that we're going to do here?
Can I? Sorry, before somebody says anything, can I put this on the resource dock? Is that a thing I'm allowed to do?
Yeah. Just make a note somewhere. You should be able to edit it.
I do not believe I can.
Okay.
You know the... Oh, sorry, carry on.
So we've now explored the whole place, right? Did we ever come across anything that would indicate like laws or because we have like how to become a king? We found those sort of hints. Do we find anything that would lead towards like laws or ways things were done in this fortress or anything like that? Or indeed, do we have any surviving ones from ours?
Okay, so laws of this fortress. Now that you have the noble quarters as well, something like I kind of think history or possibly investigation, depending on how you're going about it, to like look through the debris and find laws. Besides that, if you want a more religious angle, you can try and kind of infer the values that they would have lived by based on the shrines that are left behind.
No, she's doing what she's awful at, but what she's supposed to do. So we'll do that role. Hey, not bad.
Okay, so you find that they had it's kind of like quite obvious from the notes that they had a system where the king was pretty much judge, jury, and executioner for the whole fortress. And cases would be brought before them, and there wasn't like specific laws. It was, you're obviously in the wrong. This is, you've done this, so here are some consequences. And it did change with different kings.
Okay, so so it's sort of like if you pass the test to become a ruler, you are deemed suitably wise, that the laws are what you agree with, and everyone supports that.
Yeah, and in documents like these, there is a lot of reverence for the kings of the fortress.
Okay,
So,
and our previous fortress, I know we sort of ruled the councils and stuff. That would imply more codified laws.
yeah, so you had a sort of theocratic council in your previous fortress with a representative from each god. We never really defined precisely how your laws work, but I would assume that that would mean they need to be more codified, and then the council can make changes to the laws, but they are.
We had a
written down,
judiciary as
codified.
well, so I'm assuming there's like established stuff that's being enforced as opposed to just like the wisdom of a ruler.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do with these days, if possible, is, because I don't think there's that many records of that we brought, is sit down and try and correlate as much of it that she can remember, that she was taught, that seem right to her, and just try and like start correlating a book of, starting with like the obvious big basic stuff, and just try and make like a book of laws for the fortress as best she can.
You can do this. I'm trying to find a like a sensible check to see how effective this is. You know, loopholes and things. It's kind of an intelligence thing, but
I could just roll straight intelligence.
yeah, just straight intelligence.
Like, she's not good at this, but it's her job.
Yeah, I understand.
Ooh.
Okay, so maybe it's kind of you'll create something, but it won't be at all comprehensive.
That's fine.
So intelligence was like, it's more of like a loophole thing. So when you're creating this, is this just here's a list of things you can't do, or does it include punishments?
So I think it starts off as like these are things that you can't do, and then that sort of gets a bit, well, that's really quite obvious, and then it's like what you should do and focuses, and like this is what matters, and like maybe some punishment stuff. This comes from that time when we had the incident of like, we're going to arrest this kobold, when they were like out of our jurisdiction, and like, but they were a criminal, they stole from elves, but that's not our business, and just trying to like, what is our fucking business and what matters, and it's sort of like all this fortress first based morality codified into laws.
Yeah. So it's so I assume it's a lot of it's like, I won't make you like define all of it, but I assume the codified laws, it's kind of a lot of fortress loyalty stuff would be my assumption, and this kind of, it sounds like a kind of fortress first. So if, say, in your codified set of laws, Cretchling did nothing wrong to your fortress, so wouldn't be arrested?
Yeah, like he pretty much, he didn't attack us, he didn't offend us, but then like once you do a thing, you follow it fucking through, you stick to like your consistency. I mean, this starts rambling a bit away from like a series of laws into just like,
It's more of a manifesto type thing.
yeah, it's clearly attempts to be that, and then it goes into like, this is the way that we should live and organize and behave. And
You let the Smithite write the laws again.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So you'll get you are at the end of this time skip. We're gonna do about 2 weeks ish of time skip. You will have a completed thing, and you can bring it to the other characters and say, "Here is my manifesto of laws."
yeah, we keep talking about this. I wrote it down because stuff should be written down.
Yeah, and so it wasn't like codified punishments, right?
No, it's not that
It's
yet.
just these things are bad.
Yes, these things are bad. These things are what you should do.
Okay. Cool. That will be your activity.
In her room with desk, because study is too grandiose a term for her.
Yes, room with desk. And there are some much more grandiose studies she could use, but...
Yeah, the handwriting's not great.
Okay. So, Singebid?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You... Any particular...
Honestly, not much noteworthy. He's gonna like pace around and generally bother people in the forming workshops. Grumble that like there's not enough for him to do in the forges yet without the mines being open and like resources coming in.
There's that fancy magic forge you still spend time working on, I guess.
I've made a number of rolls and I don't understand how it works. Like, I know bits, but like.
You are welcome to make an extended study of it.
I know enough that I don't have, or we don't have access to the thing that it was designed to utilize. So I'm just gonna leave it for the moment.
That is likely true.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can storm around the fortress, kind of help, kind of hinder, as to your preference.
Bit of both.
Glower at the elves.
He will, yeah, glower at people who aren't like working properly, but there'll be points where he tries to like unhelpfully micromanage. He'll like alternate between I should be doing something because I'm supposed to be in charge and like unhelpfully micromanage like workshop stuff. And then go back to him being his usual like isolationist self and just kind of sitting by the forges, smoking his pipe or like in his room going, well, got nothing to do here.
Yeah. When it comes to things like, motivating the workers, dwarves are kind of by nature quite industrious.
Yep.
Left to their own devices in the fortress, they will kind of do a good amount of work. But obviously you do get dwarves that are lazy or become lazy. But everyone at the moment is working fairly hard. But there's kind of a bit of a... It's the fortresses work quite well by never mandating too much work. They kind of get more work on average, except for things like soldiers who obviously need shifts in certain situations.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will assume that's also how yours is working. It doesn't have to be how the whole... I don't have to dictate this whole thing, but that's kind of my...
Yeah, he's absolutely fine with that. He's, just wants to get back to business as usual, honestly.
Okay. So we're going to enter a 2-week time skip. So I will just increment days and add the money. So you are doing nothing until the workshops are done, correct?
I believe we said we were finishing the workshops, yes.
Yeah, because we want to...
tavern as well, won't we? Because we've got 2 days left on the workshop, 4 days on the tavern. And then hopefully by the end of that time, we might have enough money to look at doing something else.
Finishing the workshop, yeah, no, the tavern's cheap enough. I think we said we were going to do that.
Yeah, I think so.
So at the moment, you're kind of resources poor, but you've time not poor.
Mm-hmm.
Is the kind of current situation. So,
Yeah, so we're starting the tavern.
So you start the tavern, and
what you've done there is started brewing as opposed to the tavern.
Whoops, that's fine.
Hey, free brewing, guys.
Free brewing. It's not
Oh,
free.
that works, is it?
Tavern. 4 days remaining. And that will cost... Done the wrong amount. There we go.
Because that then gives us 2 days with the workshops all running at full to see what kind of income we've got from that. And then once the tavern's done, we can drink all the crazy booze.
Celebrate
And
the
two,
tavern.
yep, and two, we'll have more of an idea of how long it will take us to get enough money to do the bedrooms. Which, depending on how long that takes, will take us more or less to the end of a 2-week time skip.
Okay, so I will take us 2 days forward.
Sure.
So you finish the workshops. And you are down to 2 days remaining on the tavern. And you gain 2 days of resources.
At which point
So
you
you're
start
on-
regretting your upkeep numbers. Your 73.7.
It's okay. I have my calculator. 0.1 plus 73.7. Plus it's going to change in a minute. So you've got 4.
Because the value produced should go up.
Yes.
Hmm.
So now that you have workshops, your
Sit here hammering my refresh button.
specialists are much more effective. Sorry, not 7.5, 8. There we go.
Good boys.
Nice.
60% increase.
So your specialists are now much more effective because they have proper workshops rather than just random bits of broken workshop and floor and stuff to do their work on. And yes, you have many more buildings available to you. I'm going to delete the workshops from the building list because you've done it.
The other elected in the population, are they just like dependents?
Yes, they are
Kids,
children or people that are too old to work, or yeah, just dependents.
So going by then, going by the daily change, we've got 2 more days till the tavern's done, which will put us up and over the 600 mark, meaning once the tavern's done, we can then start the bedrooms, which will take 10 days, which brings us to the end of a 14-day time skip. Boom.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty good.
So
Leaves the drawbridge down, but I'm fine with that.
2 more days. So we will build the tavern. Which tavern are you building?
I think we want the Golden Horseshoe, right? Because it's closer to everyone.
I think the Golden Horseshoe is going to be the nice dwarven tavern. The Fearless Ham, if we do open to a more like tradey, gambly place, that's more likely to be where the visitors go.
Hmm.
But the Golden Horseshoe's quite small, 70 dwarves.
But it's also the tavern.
Well, if we're factoring in, so if we take out other, because dependent, like kids and that probably won't be. So that's fine. That's going to bring us down to 53. Take out the elves because they probably weren't drinking there. We're looking very roughly 50 dwarves.
Hmm.
Based on the size of the rooms, comparing that then to the size of the Golden Horseshoe, I think it's too small for a first tavern. I think we'd be better off with the Fearless Ham and just open basically a rough and ready place. And then once we've got more dwarves and we have a bigger population, we can then look at being more discerning. But if we factor in, if we do the Fearless Ham, it can essentially become like a joint tavern and also kind of canteen. So it gets more of a kind of permanent use out of it. There'll always be people coming in, going out, having lunch, food and all that kind of thing. And there's enough room in there that we could do funky things like put down long tables and have like proper, like have a feast to celebrate something.
That's a really good argument, actually. Being able to fit everyone in the fortress in for feasts is like
I
that could
have
be a big deal.
I have no counter to the argument. I think it's solid.
Hmm.
Okay, so Fearless Ham is getting done. Nice. Let me... Are you going to rename it, or are we keeping it as the Fearless Ham?
I feel the Fearless Ham is far too good.
Oh yeah.
I'll put some tables in there.
Swam bam, thank you, Ham.
Try not to laugh because it would encourage you, but
I think that ship sailed years ago, love.
yeah. Okay, so I'll just throw some benches and things.
Hmm.
I like seeing the map change.
Yeah, it's cool. Oh my god, though, when we do finish the bedrooms, there's like so many like beds and bits of crap that you have
That's
to
gonna
add.
happen in between sessions, but it's gonna be pretty. Okay, it's right. It's not pretty. None of this is pretty, but it's gonna be like I'm gonna be happy about it.
Can I suggest putting those tables in vertically rather than horizontally?
Yes, you may. I will do that.
Suggest.
You could probably sneak a third in there as well. We should totally have a top table.
Oh, yes.
More like this.
Yes.
Hmm.
I like to imagine that we each have our own mug.
You 100% each have your own mug.
By mug, I mean like pint and a half tankard.
Okay, and you want like a top table,
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it only needs a bench on one side, obviously.
obviously. That's facing the room, I assume?
Hmm.
Let's make
We're
it
going
a
full Oxbridge here.
fancy.
Don't have to be Oxbridge to have a top table. We had a top table at mine. I got kicked off it after a term, but we had one.
Kind of like this, and let's get some proper chairs.
Oh wow,
This is just what
going all out.
I know, top table.
Chairs is such a pedestrian word for what we're going to have. There's another word, begins with T.
There you go. Whoop! I moved the map. No, I didn't. It's fine. Voila!
Amazing.
You're beautifully, beautifully sorted fearless ham.
I'm really stoked. That's very cool.
Awesome.
We very much need to serve some on the day that opens if we have any.
I'm just imagining like an entire suckling pig on the top table with an apple in its mouth.
Yeah, you've got hunters. You can
Mysteriously, the elves go down to 3 on the day it opens.
I said suckling pig, not long pig.
That's the joke.
Oh, the second most dangerous game of all. They got -1 constitution, they're not that hard.
And so, the opening day of the tavern. Is there any particular way you want to commemorate? We have got, of course, we've got the Kobold Knockout Juice, if you wish, or the other alcohol, but that was the exciting one, wasn't it?
So I think what we do is, in addition to cracking out a nice barrel of Poet's Legacy, we get the fancy drinks with the plan of like we're gonna do these out of the evening, but we get the Cobalt Knockout Juice, put it down on the tap, we pour some glasses, pour some of it, and are like, right, challenge, who wants to drink this stuff, and if you do and you drink it all and you don't react, you keep it down, you get some sort of prize.
Okay.
See, my other plan was we use it to spike the barrel of Poet's Legacy.
We're not spiking our own dwarves.
Just get the whole fortress wasted. It would be great.
Your brewer Istik would be absolutely outraged if you started mixing together.
Not if he's drunk enough of the knockout juice.
No. Do not. If you suggest that, I will definitely flick through my book where it says "Do not fuck with the beer."
Trevor's Book of Laws: Thou shalt not spike the fortress's alcohol supply.
Definitely in there.
Sadly, being alignment lawful good, that is very much going to have to be an out of character suggestion. As much as I would love to.
You get a few dwarves willing to accept your challenge.
I'm on that list. I'm trying this
You're
stuff.
on that list. We've got grumpy old chef man Stegeth, and who's going to show you youngsters how it's done.
I'm
And-
gonna put a gold on Stegeth to finish the whole thing without like batting an eyelid.
Before
And,
is running this contest, she
Mhm.
will has also said, "I would not ask anything of you that I will not also try," and puts one of them in front of herself.
And you have got Ezra, who's still buzzing from the whole like getting to play with the arena machinery thing. She is ready to go get drunk and then fiddle with the machinery and possibly the plumbing.
Yes.
I love.
This can't go wrong.
Well,
So I
I'm
wanna
fully
point out-
intending on breaking the plumbing by
So
drinking this.
is our engineer actually quite short and has long pointy ears and is actually just a gnome?
She
But like, is a half gnome? Is that there's a bit of gnome in there?
she looks like a dwarf, you know, as far as you know she's a dwarf, but you suspect, you know, there's a tiny bit of point to her ears. There might be some gnome in there somewhere.
Oh, I love her.
Okay, so these are the contestants. So let me find the details for Crazy. None of you have the poison immunity, do you? Just
No,
wondering.
no. Like, no, that would
This
be
is specifically why I didn't enter, because I do have it, and it's more fun to watch you guys get poisoned.
Yeah,
Oh,
likewise.
hang on. Have I? Can I? Oh. Can I though?
Can you?
Well, I mean, I know this day's coming, and I know we're going to drink this stuff, and I can prepare spells.
Yeah.
Can I rig this competition in my own favour? Let me check my spell list.
You can, but I mean, Isden's put money on
Oh,
Stegeth.
Yeah, I'm betting on
against you.
Stegeth now.
He's gonna be. If you could get away with it, you can cheat.
But
Wait,
I
if you're
actually want to see if I've got.
Does that
I've
mean you
got
can't
like
get drunk?
I think you can still
I'm
get
im-
drunk. It's just
I'm immune to poison damage.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
can't get the bad
you don't
drunk,
get
just the good
hungover.
drunk.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
greatest sword I've
Yeah.
ever owned.
Oh, I see. You're a teenager.
it's amazing.
Stegeth thinks you're all teenagers, and he's gonna show you how to drink.
Hmm.
Okay. So you doing a spell?
What I will do, I will the day before have prepared protection from poison.
Uh-huh.
And I'll prepare it. I won't. Well, what I'll do is I'll prepare it, and then as soon as the story comes out that actually this is going to be a thing, and as soon as he puts money down, I will grumble about how I'd really like to use protection from poison because I don't actually know what this stuff's going to do. But it's fine. I won't cast the spell. I'll just have it memorized and
You can
Ready.
cast it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I can. Yes.
I found
Yeah, it's not a concentration, so that's fine.
drinks.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, so I'll have it prepared, but I won't cast it.
I'm gonna put some drinks on the high table. Beautiful. Okay, so you've got it prepared, but you're not casting it.
Yeah.
And
I'll cast it afterwards if somebody starts to die.
You've got a lot of spectators. There's a strong atmosphere of competition. Very good turnout. It kind of spills out into the corridor, really, on this first night. It's kind of sufficient for your fortress, given that at any time of day, a lot of dwarves kind of work weird hours because it's not so sunlight based. So it's kind of enough for any given time, the amount of dwarves that'll be in there. But today, the opening night, it's very busy. And many people are ready to watch this exciting competition. And you all get ready to down your shot of crazy Yanna's Kobold Knockout Juice. So everyone involved is going to make a Constitution save.
Anyone that is within 10 feet of me gets +2 to that because I make people drink better.
I guess
Yay.
everyone's within that range of you. So I'll roll for Stegeth first.
Go on, Stegeth, go on.
Go on.
Oh no.
Stegeth, no!
Hits.
So let me see. Hold on.
Oh, I have a question.
Yep.
Oh.
he's a dwarf, right?
Yep.
He has the dwarven resilience.
Dwarven resilience. Literally,
Which-
I was just looking that up.
Advantage on saving throws against poison.
It is definitely poison, so... Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Yes. Go on, say it.
I'm in the competition and I'm voting for
All
Steg.
right. Stegaz, I mean, he staggers for a moment, but his dwarven integrity pulls him through. He remains conscious, and he looks invigorated and very drunk.
Amazing.
You've never seen this grumpy old man in such a good mood.
Who's next?
His little grandson that follows him round is confused and concerned as to who this man is.
For a hot minute, I thought one of Akeem's kids was going to volunteer. I genuinely thought the teenager was going to be like, I'll do it!
I am going to become a grown-up by drinking this. Well, that is a good idea. We can include them.
I mean, it sounds funny.
That sounds funny. Okay, so Akeem's oldest child has come. A new challenger approaches, ready to prove their adulthood by drinking this scary, scary knockout juice.
Pour out the same measure of the cup.
This is cat deer.
Cat deer.
Sorry,
Okay.
I had to look up his
Yeah, I
name.
also forgot.
Name.
Okay. Cat deer with the dwarven resilience advantage. Oh, everyone's doing amazing. And cat deer is a grown-up because that is some hardcore knockout juice. But cat deer remains conscious. Oh, you're all such
Tables
dwarves.
and like hitting mugs down and like all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing and horrible at the same time, from what you understand. Okay, Ezra, your engineer.
Everyone, hover over the F key.
Oh, buddy. Rally.
She's got -1 constitution. Oh,
Yes.
bless her.
It's the gnome half.
It's the gnome in her. she's not so strong. She takes it like a champ, and she's not normally the best drinker in the fortress. And it hits her hard, obviously, because it is very potent. But she remains conscious, and she celebrates briefly before starting to mumble about good ideas and stumbling off to go do some high quality engineering.
Well,
You can
what
pursue
happened
her
now?
and try to stop her if you wish.
I will encourage her to go because that
that's
means
an
she's not
athletic, that
around
means,
for the
yeah, she's
second
doing
round of this drinking. I want her eliminated, so I'm gonna be like, yeah, go on, Ezra, go play with the arena.
She's got a great
Any
idea.
explosions are your fault now, Isden.
Okay.
I think she should be allowed to experiment.
I don't have Katie rolls for saves.
Yeah.
So now that those three have done, and I said I would drink it because I'm not going to ask anyone to do anything I wouldn't do.
Can't lose a drinking contest to the NPCs, can you?
Absolutely.
She
yes.
can, yeah.
This number is too high because I can't macro in Paladin save. So that's a 16.
Okay. You remain conscious. And you have got so let's see. You've now got resistance to cold and some other, nice effects that aren't really going to be relevant for you in this situation, but you feel invigorated, you feel strong and brave, and it's really warming, and yeah, it's kind of horrible. It's like a transparent, slightly green liquid that's constantly bubbling. It doesn't look pleasant. It tastes foul, but in like a really fun way.
Well,
wonderful. I think she drinks. She stays standing, puts the glass down, raises her hand, joins in cheering with everyone just a bit too loudly. Sees what's her name wandering off, and then like chases after, going, "Oh, show me those ideas. That sound great. I mean, you fixed the plumbing. I really want to see what else you can come up with." And,
I'll
goes,
show
trots
you.
Up and links arm and goes like trotting off after them, with them.
Yes. Ezra will take your arm and start explaining. It doesn't make sense, but
Oh no, but she's very enthusiastic.
she's
It's
very
exciting.
enthusiastic.
right, let's give this a go then. Before you go,
Mhm.
no, actually, no. Sorry, you've gone, so my save drops.
Yep.
Because you're no longer than 10 foot.
Yeah,
I see your game here.
I wasn't intentional. I thought I was drinking. Oh, no, it's fine. You got advantage. Oh, the advantage.
Loving it.
By the grace of advantage, you also survive. You feel rejuvenated. You feel brave and strong, and it tastes foul.
No, this is fine. This ain't no thing.
Very
I can do
potent.
this. This is fine.
This is fine.
Everything is fine.
Everything's fine.
And
Everything's
then
fine.
an elf tries it.
Smoking boots.
There can be a second round if you're continuing this contest.
It's like round two.
It's true.
Yeah, there has to.
Okay,
There can only be one.
so we're gonna start with Stegeth.
Last person standing. I'm on board for this.
That's the point. There's only 3
Oh,
of us.
Stegeth.
Oh no!
my god!
Yeah, and
It's
that's
got advantage though.
Oh no,
The
yeah.
advantage
that is
saves
advantage.
from the crit fail, which would have been bad.
Rip Stegger.
Stegeth is unconscious for the next 10 hours.
Oh my god.
Nobody moves him from the chair the entire evening. He's now a feature of the tavern.
Stegeth was in a great mood after the first one. He was doing great. He was the cheeriest you have ever seen him in his life. This really grumpy old man. And then he took the second shot and he was just boom, out, unconscious.
Some people just can't handle their kobold knockout juice.
Alrighty.
The Hakim's kid.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Becoming if they win.
If they win, do we get to move them out of the other category and into a
Into
different
the
category?
adult category. Unfortunately, that is not a win.
Ah.
They have fallen unconscious for 7 hours. Their youth is a big advantage to them, so it's helping them recover 3 hours faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are a teenager. They probably won't even have a hangover. All right.
If the other 2 have gone, does that bring it round to me again?
Yes. You need your second shot before you can really declare it a win. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a win.
Oh!
Oh, Falca wins.
I'm glad you have advantage there, friend.
Yes.
Yeah, that one is bad. So you win, and you've got this. So until your long rest, which will happen, you've got a +2 to strength, and you've got resistance to cold. Not that any of that's relevant.
I'm not going to note that down
No.
because Falca, being a young and foolish individual, is going to immediately celebrate by having a third shot.
Do it.
Boom, unconscious.
You are unconscious. Roll 2d6.
2d6 plus nada. 4.
You are unconscious for 4 hours, and for the full details of the fun of this, so in future, if you decide to deploy Crazy Yanna's Kobold Knockout Juice, I won't reveal to you what happens on a crit fail, but if you pass, you get +2 to strength, until your next long rest, and you will also, outside of the drinking competition, get +2 to con and advantage on Constitution saving throws until your next long rest and resistant to cold. But because you have failed the save, but did not roll a natural one, you are knocked unconscious for 2d6 hours. Upon regaining consciousness, you have disadvantage on all ability score checks, skill rolls, and saves until 2 long rests have been spent.
Oof.
You have a
That is
2-day
one hell of a
hangover,
hangover.
and it is really bad.
Oh my god.
Can that be removed by using Purge Poison on myself?
Probably. You might also
Yeah.
want to use it on Akeem's kid in Stegeth, out of the kindness of your heart.
Well, I can cast it 3 times.
Don't tell him how to play.
You don't have to. Play how you want.
When Falca wakes up, she will immediately cast protection from poison on herself, and she can choose to neutralize 1 poison. She's going to neutralize that one. And then, as and when the other 2 wake up and she sees them around the fortress, she will cure their hangovers as well.
That's very kind of you.
And then buy them a less potent drink.
But
But I think in the meantime, she's going to sleep for the rest of the celebration.
yeah, you've
Or at
all
least the
still.
next 4 hours of it.
Yes, the next 4 hours. It's not optional. Yeah, Crazy Anna's Kobold Knockout Juice. It's everything you ever expected. Do any of you want to try any of the other alcohol? It's much less exciting.
Remind me what the others were?
So you have North Wind. You've got some Elven Wine. You've got something called Kenku's Claw, the Pepper Box, Ouzo, and Sea Shanty. Those are the names of all of the alcohols you have. You can save some for like a nice occasion. There's no pressure to.
I think somebody on the high table needs to stay at least reasonably sober.
We're not.
And it's not going to be me.
Some kind of lightweight talk right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna drink. Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna crack open the pepper box. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
like a fun one.
The Pepper Box. So it's this light, smoky grey kind of drink. And like it smells strong, but not like, nothing on the level of Crazy Anna's Kobold Knockout Juice. Yeah, I assume you just serve it up, give it a try.
Yeah.
So it's got this like strong, unsavory taste. It's like some kind of weird, like it's got like a yogurt vibe to it almost, but also strong peppers, mostly pepper. It is explosively hot for your throat. You don't know if you were getting sick, but you're definitely not sick now if you were. Because after all this like rummaging around in dark and dirty places, you may be coming down with a bit of a cold. Definitely gone now. As this like
Blows
drink
out
just
all of my sinuses.
Yes.
Congratulations, you drank some medicine.
Dwarven medicine. It's also very alcoholic. Of course.
It's like
Or in fact,
give their-
medicinal.
This is what dwarves give their kids instead of cowpool under 5.
Okay. Well done, everyone.
Sounds like a good night.
This is a good night. You have a fun night with the opening of your tavern.
Probably during the night, occasionally, just like some loud like rumbling and like noises from the other side of the fortress, with a few shouts of "No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just good. Meant to happen." As some engineering is occurring.
In the morning, the archery range is no longer a feature of the arena.
But there is one sticking out of the ceiling.
I'm trying to decide what awful fate has befallen the arena. Like it was very customizable. Possibly, like, Ezra's rigged up like a fun dance floor mode, which is when the kind of slightly customizable floor terrain of the arena goes very extreme, and keeps moving a lot, and it becomes like a fun game of try and stay upright in this horrible, and both of you obviously fail while drunk, and you have a great evening together.
That sounds genuinely fun.
Yeah, try and stay upright whilst drunk on the horrible shifting floor.
Is this like dwarven surfing?
Yes.
We're not good at it. I've got Dex 8.
It can be dwarven surfing. That can just be it. There's sand in the bottom of this arena, I guess. You can surf on the sand.
I have the worst balance, just for the record.
You have a great time.
That's how good I am at it. It's not good, but it's great fun.
Hold on. Ezra is a little better, but she's also drunk, so she falls off a lot as well. 14 is not enough to save her when she's had some of Crazy Yanla's kobold knockout juice.
It's true. No one downed the bottle though. No one decided to do that.
No.
That seems like it would have been a poor choice.
I mean, I would have done, but I fell asleep after the third shot.
There's definitely a rule somewhere about no bogarting the rare beer.
If you didn't have that in your rulebook before, you're going to add it the next morning.
Whatever the dwarven equivalent of no Malathian passing is. That.
Okay.
Which is a reference that only a few people will get.
No, it's a reference that everyone other than the GM gets.
I meant people listening.
Thanks. Okay. So, you have done the tavern. Good job, everyone. You have 10 days left, and you have currently got 637.9 gold to spend. So I take it all bedrooms?
Yes, I think so.
Yep. I think we should start on the bedroom of the horrifically hungover people. Start working with loud tools in their bedrooms first.
First thing in the morning.
Wow.
Yep. Definitely.
Alrighty. Are you going to want to build anything else while that's building? Because after even just a day or two, you'll have enough gold to start a second project. So
do we want to start the drawbridge then?
How much metal do we have?
You have got
2
metal.
Okay.
So if we did that, then we wouldn't have metal for military equipment and hospital.
We might want to do the hospital then, if only because I don't know if we're drilling down to the level of different metals, but having either military equipment or drawbridge mechanisms made of tin is a really bad idea.
Yeah, so the metals thing, it's not going to make a huge difference except for military equipment, really.
Yeah. Singebeard is going to be very, very clear that he is not willing to equip the military with weapons made of tin. That would be an insult to the gods and to the craft.
Yeah, if it's things like the drawbridge mechanisms, I'm going to assume with a layer of abstraction that it's something like a combination of the metal and some stone and wood and things to make it all strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When I read metal in the resource list, I'm reading that as quality functional metal for purpose, as opposed to just anything metal we have.
Yeah, it's a unit of metal.
Elsewhere as pale metal or whatever. It's if it's metal that works with military equipment, it is of suitable quality to function as.
I mean, I stand by my statement.
Yes, well, tin is not suitable quality to function as.
Yes.
I only brought it up because that's in the resource list. We've got specifically tin and copper.
Yeah.
I mean, either.
That is. So the military equipment you could make would only be as good as tin or copper, whatever you chose.
Okay, so those are not military weapons.
Do we have the capacity,
but
given that we've...
You have kind of no weapons at the moment, so...
That's about as useful as a copper sword.
Do we have the capacity, given that we were finding weapons when we went through kind of the royal quarter? Did we find enough to be able to equip like 10 soldiers with "here is an axe"?
It's true. You have. I recall in a previous part of the fortress there was an effort to arm your guards with kind of the weapons at that point were rusted and broken. But now that you have the noble areas, you've got some nice weapons. Because the noble area had higher quality, better stored weapons.
I mean, if nothing else, when I rocked up with a warhammer that I immediately swapped for a magic axe. So I've got a warhammer someone can have.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I've got
I
a
think
Warhammer, you can't have
at
it.
this point your military has basic weapons.
Yeah.
Not all the weapons are to everyone's preferences and proficiencies because it's kind of whatever was good, and they do not have effective armor.
Or shields. Or...
So it's a case of kind of providing them with getting armor and shields sorted out and sort of fitting weapons to balance and that kind of thing. And
Yeah. So even though the metal is not terribly well suited, it would be like a foundation thing if you chose.
You
to
can
do
make
that.
copper, bronze out of them, which is, I mean, it worked 3,000 years ago.
Yeah. You can make bronze to make better weapons.
I say 3,000 years ago, bronze weapons have been a lot earlier than that. But that's not the point. We're not being historians here.
if it was good enough for our ancestors, it's good enough for us. Because we're dwarves.
Yeah, but
I would say,
Minute.
going back to it, I would say that probably doing the drawbridge mechanisms would be a good shout.
I think it's. We do not want to be in a situation where we need to raise the drawbridge and we can't.
There's one other useful thing about getting the drawbridge mechanisms is it will actually save us soldiers because we can raise the drawbridge at night when we don't have people out working the farms, and then we don't need to have people on shift guarding the entrance. And we are currently short-staffed.
Agreed.
So drawbridge.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll need to let 2 days advance to manage the drawbridge. So we're on 109, 7. So 2 days and minus the drawbridge, you've got 57.3, and you've got 8 days left on the bedrooms, and you then have 3 days left on the drawbridge. And we continue. Again, after about 2 days, you'll have another 200 gold and be able to start another project if you want. If you like, for the abstraction, we have these miscellaneous tin and copper. We can combine them for 2 arbitrary units of bronze, and that would...
I think bronze is universally more useful for a pair of them outside from like copper tubing. And you could do that with bronze.
So, but one of them has been used for the drawbridge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like... A part of me says we should have some sort of shrine, but then we have a fight between we have 3 religious people.
I'm thinking a shrine would be a good shout. I'm happy to wait because if nothing else, Falca has set up a table with a holy symbol on it, and will have been praying at that. Although, is there not potentially a argument to be made in favour of building or repairing one of the shrines to one of the gods of this fortress that we don't necessarily worship, in kind of an idea of we are taking over this fortress, but we don't want to immediately effectively dismiss the gods of the fortress, because that could cause issues for us in the long run. Whereas if the first thing we do is rebuild one of the ruined shrines, that might be a good thing in terms of getting a bit of favour from somebody who's not already going to be inclined to liking us because one of us worships them. If that makes sense. I don't know what, out of character, I don't know what the dwarf gods would be like for being like, you've come into this fortress, which was my ancestral place of worship, and you've started worshipping other gods here, and now I'm going to curse all your firstborn kind of thing.
So, give a religion check, I think, for that knowledge.
Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, I have to relocate from one side of the room to the other.
No worries.
I've moved away from the computer. Okay, knowledge. Religiones.
Oh, yeah, okay. So,
Oh,
depends...
hang on, sorry, aren't I at disadvantage? No, because I cured my hangover.
You cured your hangover.
Yeah,
Which
cool.
actually is relevant. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
It's a crit rather than a botch.
Yes.
Yep.
Would have been very different if you hadn't cured your hangover. You'd be
Oh,
like,
that's a
I
point, yes,
can't
and that's
remember.
20.
I have a headache. So, you are quite aware that it will depend on the god quite a lot. For example, Kesh Hailbrave was worshipped by your previous fortress, a crocodile god of jealousy. It would probably not go well if you rebuilt any shrine other than that one first, if it already existed here. For the gods that you actually have, you've got a Limelas shrine, which is not restored metals and minerals. A lot of the shrines, so Kikrost, Ral, and Bomb, are all quite like classic fortressy gods, you know, labor crafts, fortresses, and, you know, mountains, those kinds of gods. None of them would be particularly bothered. You probably wouldn't want to, even if the shrine is ruined and in disrepair, you wouldn't want to risk like dismantling it and turning the room into something else necessarily. But also, those are all like stable dwarven gods that would not be particularly offended. They're like quite reliable, I guess. As reliable as the gods
Okay.
ever are. Oaken is there the shrine to Oaken. Let's see.
Balance and death.
Balance and death, the rotting dwarf goddess. Oaken would probably you have, you know, some knowledge of like the gods interests, I guess, and yeah, Oaken would not mind her shrine being dismantled as a kind of like balance
End, right?
and stuff ending and stuff is created and then stuff ends, and that's kind of right and proper. So yeah, Oaken, you can do what you like with the shrine pretty much. The others, you probably want to leave the shrines, but you don't have to restore those first.
Okay. I will kind of relay that to the others. I'm just looking at the list of gods and who has got shrines here that we're aware of.
So you've got Ral, the Yak Cow of fire, volcanoes, and mountains. You have Limelas of metals and minerals.
Limelas, dwarf metal minerals.
Kikrost, dwarf of fortresses. Hey. You have got Oaken, who we've talked about, and kind of on the second page you have a bomb of labor and crafts.
This lack of an EGUC shine makes me sad.
But so the ones marked in yellow are ones that were very important in our previous fortress.
Yes.
I'm going to make an argument then that a shrine to Kesh Hailbrave might actually be a good idea.
Why?
Because that is an important part of our previous fortress, and I'd really not like him to think that we have abandoned him, because that will go badly for us. Also, food, agriculture, and fertilizer are good to have in a new fortress.
That's not wrong. There's a decent time for that, I suppose.
My other suggestion would be to look at rebuilding maybe either the the shrine of either, well, probably Kikrost,
Because
as essentially a reborn fortress, or potentially maybe of Bomb, because the first thing we are doing here is labouring and. I would suggest that we look to rebuild the Shrine of Limulas before we open the mine again. But that's something we can leave to do later on in the month. But my suggestion would be either a new shrine, rebuild Kikrost or Bomb shrines.
I can kind of get behind trying to cash. Well, the first harvest is coming through. That's probably going to be quite important. So
yeah,
it's also a
I'd
major
buy
god
that
doesn't have a thingy.
on the condition that Kikros is done next.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
other reason I'm suggesting cash is we have a number of religious people here, and like not building, and cash is none of them, so it's a more neutral pick.
Flip
Also-
side, Kikros has literally blessed the party's reclaiming of this fortress.
Has he?
Yeah, and my god. Every miracle that I have performed from the beginning of this campaign is Kikros helping the reclaiming of this fortress.
Everything I've done has been Egok. Can say the same thing.
Halaseg, but I would suggest Kesh first, then Kikrost, and also bear in mind we have enough money to rebuild a shrine every 2 days.
Like, I'm cool with this. I figure like Egok should come in when we start like actually working, as previously mentioned, when we start formulating some sort of governance. Then he gets done.
Yeah, like I would like a shrine to Halaseg, but I also understand that by moving through this shrine and lighting candles and torches and looking after people, I am doing his work here.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think the priority he would have is that he'd rather see his work done than a shrine be built.
I mean, that's, yeah. Kikros isn't entirely dissimilar.
But for now, we've said we're having one to cash, right?
Yeah. So if you are having one to cash, where would you like to build it? So, yeah, with your creating religion, Falco, jealousy, the other gods are also capable of getting jealous if this shrine is significantly better than theirs eventually. However, Kesh would probably want a fancy room to be converted into the shrine.
Sorry, can we pause for 1 sec?
Yep.
There does appear to be a row of rooms that has the Ral and Kikrost shrine and Singebeard's room that we could potentially convert all of those into shrines. And then you'd have like a row of them and they're all in the same place.
It's
Yeah.
true.
That's I guess I didn't really mention. You could probably get away with dismantling a shrine if you did want to move them all one day. If you did want to move them all, as long as you've rebuilt one straight away.
Yeah.
So you could dismantle a ruined one to build a proper one elsewhere if you want to build them somewhere else.
So, yeah, we could effectively relocate one of them.
I actually-
Please them as long as it's done immediately.
As I said, that being like the shrine row there is not the worst thing. Does mean eventually that maybe Singebeard moves out, but I don't know if that's the thing he wants to do or not.
Well, we can, because it's on the edge, we can, I think, dig further into the mountain and we can actually just extend that row out if we need
Yeah.
to.
Exactly. Be like our little religious section, religious street.
Sorry, I just missed what was said because I my iPad died, so I had to swap Discord from my iPad to my phone.
Sure. Just to recap, so there's the Shrine to Ral and the Shrine to Kikrost are in a row of rooms that are all about the same size, and it might need Singebeard moving out at some point. But if we could start moving shrines into that area, and then they'd all sort of be in the same place, which I think would be quite nice.
Yep. You do also have the option of the noble quarters is empty at the moment and has lots of rooms. You don't have to choose that at all. It's just
That's where I was looking. I was looking at the noble
A
rooms,
reminder.
particularly if you go up from where the stairs are. You've got those first set of rooms to the left and right, but then up from that, you've got rooms to the left and right there, and you've got 6 rooms on either side that are functionally quite similar sizes, with sort of rooms in the middle that you could have as kind of like lobbies and that, and then you've got room to put 8. Yeah, where
These
the
ones?
pinging is.
These ones.
Yes.
Okay.
And it puts them somewhere nice and central, and also somewhere where they've got bigger rooms, but also leaves enough room for there to be, you know, at the very least, 8 shrines there.
There's 10.
excluding the
I'm-
central lobby
Oh,
areas, right?
I guess that's a lobby too, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly because I don't want to have someone have to walk through a shrine to get into another shrine.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of a waste of these rooms, but
I mean, to be honest, I'd put those rooms as put like display cases in there and put fine works of crafting and art and things in them,
yeah, that's very fair.
and
That's
just
very fair.
you know, pimp out our noble quarters. And if we don't end up using the noble quarters because we're all too horribly abashed to do it, we can at least have like a really nice area of the fortress, which is where all the kind of
Oh, I'm totally planning on moving in there once we've like started formalizing government. It's not a case of a bash; it's a case of it's not the right time.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, those rooms for religion could be good. What do other people think?
Particularly if we're going theocratic again.
I don't have any particular opinions or objections, so whatever you guys fancy, really.
If you have a strong preference for that, Dale, then I'm cool to go with that.
I don't have a strong preference. I'm just suggesting it because, yeah.
Okay. Since people are maybe struggling to make a decision on this, we could sort of start the shrines in one place, and then if at the start of the next session you're like, oh, we changed our minds, we can move it. As a kind of
Well, say I would say I think that's a good place to go. But obviously, you know, it's
yeah. So
down to what other people think as well.
yeah, and as a very jealous god, if they are the only god with a shrine and also they have a better room than all the other gods, this will make Kesh very happy.
Well, there's 1 or 2 of the rooms that are ever so slightly bigger than the others, so I'd say put Kesh in one of the bigger ones.
Okay. We'll do that.
What's there like? See, 2 or 15 into
So
a 60.
maybe where's the button? How do you ping?
It's the top one.
How do you ping?
Select move and then hold on a place. Like just left click and hold.
I don't know how to do that.
In the top left, where you choose like dice rolling, measuring tool, etc. Go to the top option.
Sorry, my volume had just gone down, so I didn't hear anybody saying anything. What did you say?
Top left of the screen, where there's the measuring tool and everything. The top
Yep.
option that's just a cursor. Hover over that. Select and move.
Yep.
Hover over where you wish to ping, and just hold down left mouse.
Okay, so somewhere like there, or there, because those rooms are slightly. They look bigger, even if
they're 16 compared to 15.
Okay, so we'll put Kesh in one of them.
Yeah.
Let's say this one.
Okay. Shrine. Put that there. It was Hailgrave, right? Yes. Good. There we go. You have a beautiful shrine. Underway. And it seems a good use for the fancy rooms. Okay, so we will put that underway. And I will keep advancing time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So after one day, the drawbridge mechanisms are finished.
Hooray! I'm going to immediately take people off the night shift.
That's very kind of you.
So I assume people are fine with me making sort of quasi-unilateral decisions about this. Tell me if you're not.
The only thing I was going to say is it worth for a little bit, rather than taking people off the night shift, having one patrol just roaming around and checking? 2 people just roaming around the fortress after dark?
I kind of want to get people off double shifts.
Yep, that's fair.
This will actually also free me up, so I can do some roaming, and particularly if it's after dark. Like
Okay.
I'm very good at that.
Oh, you're a one-man party, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've advanced it one day. You now have a build slot again, but not really enough money to do much with it unless you want 100 foot of wooden fence. So
we could wait one more day and then get on some actual brewing, or we could wait one more day and work on another shrine. I think is the 2 major options.
I will
Unless we
advance it
particularly
one
want
more day.
fencing, but I don't think we super need to.
You can, of course, just save your money as well. There's no need to.
I've never been good at that.
Well, if we need to get other resources and or things from trading partners later at any point,
That's
if
true.
we don't have a decent reserve built up, we won't have anything to bargain with.
I'm inclined to, at this point, build up a bank, as I don't think there's anything we massively to work
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this finishes. Bedrooms are done.
Bedrooms.
Bedrooms. You've
Yay.
all got doors and beds. It was a lot of work, but everyone
Make it
is a
all
lot
done.
happier for it.
Doors for everyone.
on. Like basic, like that's the last of the repairing a dilapidated place,
Yes.
kind of.
Nah, we've still got repairs to do.
Yeah, we do.
But the rooms are much nicer, and that's very nice for all of
Yeah.
you. And that's where we're going to end it for today.
Cool. Cool.
Cool.
I actually really enjoyed that, getting that kind of strategic, kind of moving from being an RPG to kind of a
Hell
fortress
yeah.
builder for a session is a really kind of interesting, refreshing taste.
Yeah, playing some like management sim stuff is kind of cool.